Excuse me, let me get everything situated. What is good, y'all? Mikey T, the movie star here. We're going to be talking about a couple different things today.
Let me get everything situated.
We're talking about a couple different things today. I want to speak about Fabio. We got to talk about what's going on with the game, pretty much putting it out there, why he decided to challenge Eminem to a rap battle. I wanted to speak on that as well. But let me see. Let me just get everything situated in the studio. Let me get all my shit situated for today's live show. Got a couple different things to talk about. I wanted to cover the story of Fabio Foreign. We've seen the return of 6ix9ine in the last few days. He's getting supported by a couple of people with a couple million followers and shit like that. So he's gonna have some momentum behind him. But he's changed his direction in a couple different aspects. We'll talk about that. Young Bucks come out and made a pretty crazy statement about G Unit Records. A lot of people wonder what is Young Buck's status with G Unit Records at this point. Apparently, Young Buck is still signed with G Unit. Young Buck still has to complete a couple projects under G Unit Records. So, for the time being, he's going to be stuck there. You know what I mean? What was it? Stuck on death row, stuck on G Unit Records. You know what I mean? Normally, you wouldn't think that would be a bad thing when you're signed to a record label like, say, a G Unit. But at this point in time, Young Buck hasn't really been able to get any material in the stores. And at this point, it's not even really about putting material in the stores anymore. All the material is streamed online. All of it's purchased through your various platforms. Your music is heard through Spotify and through iTunes and whatever, Apple Music, all those different outlets for it. You're not necessarily going into the stores this day and age and purchasing the music anymore. You know what I mean? You're not necessarily going into the store and buying the music. So it's not like the days when I was a fan, you know what I mean? When I was a youngin' in the game, running to the Strawberries or the FYE store, you know what I mean, and purchasing the CDs and shit like that. It's not like that no more, you guys. Artists sell their music in a different way. What's going on, Peasy? Appreciate you tapping in, bro. Fabio Foreign, Young Buck, 50 Cent, The Game, Eminem. We got some topics to talk about today, man. We got some shit to talk about. So the whole Game situation is a little bit crazy to me because of the fact that the Game is pretty much explained why he's going in on Eminem. The Game pretty much explained why he's going on Eminem, you guys. The Game pretty much said, when I said what I said about Eminem, it was to challenge him, to challenge hip hop, to ignite a rap riot, not a street fight or let's pull out the straps. This is what the Game said when he was finally asked about challenging Eminem. Because, we had heard the words from Whack 100. We heard Whack 100 say, the Game has a record. The Game has a record going at Eminem. But not just that, the Game has a record in response to whatever Eminem does. So pretty much the Game has his records locked and loaded right now in regard to, a potential beef or a potential, rap war with Eminem, which I think a lot of us are looking forward to. I think a lot of us are looking forward to that if it actually does happen. But the Game has pretty much put it out there that it's going to happen whether Eminem wants it to or not. It's going to happen whether Eminem wants to participate in it or not is pretty much what the Game is saying, you guys. Get this shit set up. Got some good smoke on deck today, you guys. I'm blazing on some runts. I don't know what y'all is smoking on. Hope everybody in here is smoking good, but I'm smoking on some runts. Had to go and pick it up. Get right here to my visual. Make sure everything is situated. And we is lit. So speaking on this issue with the game, right? Let's get back into it here. Game said, when I said what I said about Eminem, it was to challenge him, to challenge hip hop, to ignite a rap riot, not a street fight or let's pull out the straps, 50 Cent's catchphrase, but get up on rap. Like, let's rap because of Eminem in our history, me and 50's history, Aftermath and Shady and the Black Wall Street. He had to sneak the Black Wall Street in there. You know what I mean? Game had to, he had to sneak the Black Wall Street in there, even though the Black Wall Street wasn't as built up as the other names that he mentioned, like Shady. They had Stat Quo, they had Obi Trice, they had D12. Aftermath had every single artist that you could imagine. But Black Wall Street didn't really produce any talent, you guys. I mean, I know a lot of the guys that were actually signed to Black Wall Street. Like I had spoke to Juice. I spoke to Juice before. I've smoked and worked with Compton Menace. You know what I mean? I was vibing with Compton Menace in Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these different things, like that the game are saying it's believable, but then some of it when he goes like that, it's kind of like throwing me off. Just to be real with you guys, what's popping with your team league? Dutch, major salute to you on the tap in. Just wanted to speak on this whole thing with the game pretty much explaining the Eminem situation. The game even going as far to say that 50 Cent can't rap, which is why he's challenging pretty much why he's challenging Eminem in the first place. Kind of interesting. So we're going to go over all that today, you guys. Team League says the game is bugging. He wants attention. The game is bugging. He wants attention. So he was saying because of Eminem in our history, me and 50's history, Aftermath and Shady, and the Black Wall Street and all of that, and Eminem's career and all the records he sold when we were selling actually records. The game was talking about the game basically said that Interscope could push records to actually sell. You know what I mean? Interscope could actually push records to sell. I mean, they didn't really get to move units for Stat Quo, so that's not actually, all the way true. Some of the records that they put out did fail to get attention just because of Tony Yayo. You know what I mean? Just because of Tony Yayo's success when he first came out, his sales didn't really follow. Um, the game said when we were selling records, these buildings can push you to sell records, even if you're not as great as you are. We know some whack rappers that sold records. Kind of was questioning who he was talking about there. You know what I mean? I was kind of questioning if he was talking about maybe somebody along the lines of a Soldier Boy, who I know was at Interscope Records. There were a few artists that, that you would be like, damn, they really sold some joints. You know what I mean? Like the D4L when they dropped, but I don't think they were signed to Interscope. Major salute, Marcus. Appreciate you for tapping in tonight. Appreciate you for tapping in tonight, man. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Listen to the game ain't no jokes, but Eminem. Listen, the game ain't no jokes, but Eminem either. He's a beast. Yeah, man. That's why this battle's going to be interesting. And as the game got into this conversation, as the game got into this conversation, he actually, or called out Eminem for beefing with other rappers like MGK. No, yeah, you're right, bro. You're right. I usually do it at. Come on, John. I usually do these streams at night. Sometimes I come on at about 3 o'clock midday. World Star Beat says, I don't care about M or game. It's quiet for all of them. I mean, not if they do something like this. Not if they do something like this. But in all honesty, man, the game has been creating a lot of noise outside of, dissing Eminem. The game has had a new record with Kanye West called Easy that dropped, which is streaming pretty crazy right now, man. That joint is actually streaming pretty crazy. Probably about 10 million views on it right now. And anytime Eminem drops an album, like I think he had dropped the joint, what was it called? Murder by Numbers or something like that last year. He could drop a joint out of the blue and actually sell a few units. So in reality, that's not actually, you know what I mean? That's not actually true. These are both the type of artists that can just put out a music video and it's going to generate, or a project, and it's going to generate some interest. Proof in the lyrics, proof in the lyrics. Salute on the tap in, man. He said, bruh, M don't need any label to help him sell records or fake buys. Really, bruh? M is outsold all over the world. Yeah, I don't think the game is really suggesting here that Eminem is one of the artists that the sales were pumped up for. You know what I mean? Eminem quite clearly had a presence in the game, even to the point where he could pick up somebody like 50 Cent and just turn him into the next big thing. So I don't really think he's talking about Eminem in this situation, but there are other artists that were, putting out weak music that was getting pumped into the radio, and they're like, "Yo, man, it kind of sounds like Soldier Boy crank that." You know what I mean? It's in that same vibe. They're creating a dance. You got to jump on this first. Oh man, he Australian? No, 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 man. John, okay. Okay. He hinted at it in a few interviews. The game also hinted at it on his song The Doctor's Advocate. The game had a song called The Doctor's Advocate on his, second album, where he actually talked about the fact that he would have to beef with Eminem over 50 Cent. You know what I mean? That's one of the things. That's one of the things that the game actually spoke on. Yeah, man. Let me get this guy as well. So where are we at with this? Excuse me, y'all. Because I was shocked that the game actually explained dissing Eminem. You know what I mean? I was actually a little bit shocked by it. I thought maybe it wasn't going to come this soon. But the game just seems like he's ready to do this, man. The game seems like he's ready to jump in this with Eminem. He's Game went on. He said they got Eminem put up where he is this rap god, but when directed by myself, I don't think he's a better rapper than me. The game says that he doesn't think Eminem is a better rapper than him. That's a little bit funny to a lot of us watching, but the game would explain it. The game would go on to explain it, what we all know as fans, how the game at certain points had said, yo, Eminem is somebody that inspires me. I would never want to go at it with Eminem. The game kind of explained it, saying that he was only acting like that because of aftermath. That's pretty much how the game explained it, and I buy it to a certain extent. It's like, wow, man. So you got the record with M, you got the joint with M. So you got the joint with M, but now you're gonna diss him because nothing really else further came from that whole situation. Even by his second album, even by the game's second album, which followed the documentary, The Doctor's Advocate, he was already alluding to the fact that he was going to have to diss Eminem and how he didn't want to do it. Go look up the lyrics to the song The Doctor's Advocate. He actually speaks on how he dissed 50 Cent. So now he's wondering what's going to happen with Eminem. Proof in this says 50 Cent blew up huge. Maybe he was hyped up, but Fifth took off and really sold those albums to real people. Well, 50 Cent, 50 Cent had amazing record sales for his first album, Get Rich or Die Trying. You know what I mean? The story was just all the way there for 50 Cent's album. The fact that 50 Cent, had this story behind him. He had the single. He had the juggernauts, as they call them, Eminem and Dr. Dre behind him. He had everything working to his advantage. But the fact of how consistent the music was is what kept it selling. That album is sold 800,000 copies first week, and it actually sold another 800,000 copies the very next week. Eminem and Dr. Dre had a very good signing in Eminem in 50 Cent. What's up? What's up? I just saw your comment, bro. Now, proof in going from there, that demand, that anticipation that 50 Cent built on and sustained, it went on to, create a momentum for all of his G Unit artists. Lloyd Banks came out and did hella numbers. Young Buck came out and did hella numbers. And then the game came out and did massive numbers. So you got to look at that in the way that the game blew up in a similar fashion to 50 Cent, but not to the same extent. You know, uh, the game didn't necessarily have that same story. You know what I mean? He had a story. Not to say he didn't have a story, but he didn't have all the people knowing about his story. 50 Cent's story really just it took everybody by storm. The fact that 50 was also beefing with your favorite rapper, that's something that the game would go on to try with his next album. Although nothing like 300 bars was included in the Doctor's Advocate, there were no diss tracks included in the Doctor's Advocate. Why was that? I wonder why that was. Why didn't the game use a diss track like one of the street anthems that he was creating and actually put that on the album to appease the fans? Because that seemed like it was something that the game was doing back then. You know what I mean? Trying to work to the fan, the every fan. But yeah, very interesting to hear that shit. Let's get back into it here. So game continued. He said, for me to really take a shot at M like that, it doesn't sit well. It doesn't sit well with people. The game is saying when he took a shot at M, it doesn't really sit well with people. He knows the fact that he's dissing Eminem. He's going to have a lot of quote unquote stands. I think that's what you call Eminem fans, which is pretty cool in my opinion. But he's going to have a lot of fans. Like if you go at Nicki, if you go at Beyonce, if you go at 50, you're going to have their cult fan base attacking you. You're going to have them dissing you. Hell, even the game has me blocked on Twitter because of the fact that I was so pissed off as a G Unit fan that he ruined G Unit back in the day. I was probably going at the game like, what the hell's wrong with you, man? You done messed up everything when you left G Unit. A lot of people out there, you know what I'm saying, were pissed off about the game leaving G Unit. Just imagine how many people are now going to get in the game, get at the game about this whole situation going at Eminem. You're going to have your people saying, yo, all Eminem did was show you love. What are you doing, game? That's pathetic. You're dissing Eminem. All he did was jump on your album to give you that ultimate cosign, you know what I mean? To kind of make you look like the way that they had presented 50 Cent, because they didn't do that for the other guys. You know what I mean? They didn't do that for the other guys really like that. I mean, Eminem jumped on the Warrior remix, which wasn't really into myself. And he ended up doing the hook and the beat on Drama Setter from Tony Yayo, but he also put Obi Trice on that. You know what I mean? That was a layup. You know what I mean? For Obi Trice, who was getting ready to release his second album around that time. Let's not forget, this is Marketing 101, guys. This is the three-headed monster. We're talking about Shady Aftermath and G Unit. Marketing was a very key thing in what they were doing as a group. That's one of the reasons that 50 thought kicking Young Buck out of G Unit when they did the Terminate on Sight album, they thought that would be a ploy in selling more records. No, that was a ploy in pissing off more fans, which the game is totally realizing here. By dissing Eminem, he could piss off many fans, you guys. The game could really rub some fans the wrong way. And I don't disagree with him. But listen, I want to say, the game dissing Eminem or going into a lyrical warfare with Eminem, it's not the same as some of the disrespectful stuff that other artists are doing. It is not Black Youngsta going into a cemetery. You know what I mean? It's not NBA Youngboy disrespecting King Von on his album or his project Colors. It's not the same level. The game, to me, doing this, sparring with Eminem, it is something that is not negative whatsoever. Like he's saying, this is to ignite hip hop, you guys. So him saying this type of shit, it's got me hooked back into this vibe, which he brings up in a moment. He brings up the 2005 2006 moment. We'll get to that in a second, though, you guys. So game went on. He says, because to people, he is a rap god. I just feel like a rap god where? I don't feel how I feel. I don't feel how I felt at one point. At one point, I did because I was signed to Aftermath and I was loyal. Interscope and Aftermath's career, they had me thinking he was better than everyone else. And the game gets into a major story right here, you guys. A major story of the source talking about Eminem and Jay-Z. He said, at one point in my career, I thought Eminem was better than Jay-Z. At one point in my career, I thought that Eminem was better than Jay-Z because they said Eminem got Jay in the source. Until I became a vet and a legend in this game. So the game is kind of taking back some of the statements from what he said. He's saying he did think Eminem was better. He didn't want to go against Eminem because of Aftermath, because of the Aftermath relationship with Interscope, with Dr. Dre, with Eminem, the fact that Dr. Dre brought Eminem into the game, the fact that Eminem and Snoop Dogg, that's why you'll never see the game going at these guys that helped revitalize Dr. Dre's career to a certain extent. Snoop Dogg came in and was the voice on 2001. Once again, reteaming from the Chronic, you guys. That was what we needed to hear, y'all. That was what we needed to hear. It's what made 2001 it's what made 2001 a classic. You know what I mean? Hearing that remastered Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre, man, shit was pretty dope. Ooh, Proof says M probably has the most diss tracks other than any other artist in the rap game. LOL, just saying. Huh. Interesting. I'd have to think about that for a second. Who has the most diss tracks? Yeah, Eminem and D12 even did hop into the Ja Rule and 50 Cent joint pretty heavy, releasing records like Do Re Mi. M did the Hail Mary. He had all the tracks against Benzino. You know what I mean? a whole bunch of different tracks. Now, I'm not going to call every song where Eminem was calling out somebody on his album, like dissing Fred Durst or, dissing these people on his albums as actual diss tracks. I'm going to kind of consider that similar to what the game did when the game would actually name drop. Appreciate everybody tapping in, man. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. What up? What up, R? Just wanted to come on and do a video today, this afternoon, and go over this topic of the game, explaining dissing Eminem. 50 actually dissed Benzino and Young Buck in the same post. You know what I mean? But yeah, 50 had to get it in on Young Buck, right, you guys? Because Young Buck was actually just complaining about G Unit. Young Buck was actually just complaining about G Unit. It was kind of I mean, it wasn't really anything that I didn't know, to be honest with you guys. Young Buck did clarify and say he was actually still a member of G Unit. He's saying that 50 Cent will not let him go from G Unit Records. Damn, 17. You went and looked that up, man. You went and looked that up. 17 diss tracks, and there's probably a few more, man. But let's get back into the game topic, man. The game basically said he never went at Eminem because of the fact that he was an Aftermath recording artist. Um, I find that a little bit strange because back in the day, like Eminem's music was a little bit different than it is now. You know what I mean? Like Eminem wasn't so much focused on all of the like it seems like Eminem is more focused on lyrics and more focused on bars and more focused on rhymes and cadences and all of that now and just actually putting out shit like that. Back then, Eminem was more focused on the stories, and not to say that that didn't involve different rhymes and cadences and shit. But I mean, I just don't know why. I guess it's because it impacted everybody, like the different style that Eminem had, where he actually rapped about his family situation and everything. It wasn't like what you were hearing from Jadakiss. It wasn't what you were hearing from, you know what I mean, Scarface and Tupac, and it wasn't what you were hearing from DMX, because that's what it's about in the industry, I guess. Because I haven't really been connected with Eminem since probably his third album. During the Encore album, I fell off. Relapse, I jumped back on. But then after that, I was pretty much off of it. I haven't so much been into the rap god Eminem phase of hip hop as the game is speaking here. The game said, I just feel like rap god. Where? Now, back in the day, just to get to my point, everyone's saying Eminem was the best. So Eminem was the best when he was talking about cleaning out my closet. So that's really what everybody was kind of feeling like. Not the new rap god Eminem, but they're saying like the way I am Eminem is the best Eminem. I just don't feel that the Eminem is that way anymore. But like I've shared before on other streams, I don't feel the game has the same intensity with his music either. That intensity that we heard on the documentary and the Doctor's Advocate, hell, even the Red album, you know what I mean? That, and I don't feel like we share that same intensity anymore that the game had when I listened to Easy. You know what I mean? It's just a little bit it's spoken a little bit different. The game can rap, sure, but like I was saying, Easy is kind of like not that old game to me. Easy, he just seems like he's a little bit too comfortable. You know what I mean? The Doctor's Advocate and the documentary, he was actually really sounding hungry on them shits. The Real Prophecy, my guys in the building, he said, let's be real, game had like 6 hits off that first with the G Unit. He has had maybe 1 or 2 hits after. Yeah, well, on that third album, he had about 3. On the third album, he had about on the second album, he had about three. The third album, he had a few, but a lot of them didn't take off. Like, what was it called? It's Okay. Games Pain didn't take off either. Yo, King Alfred, that is not exactly correct, bro. Cause the game gave credit to Eminem back then. You know what I mean? Apparently, the game was more into the Stan Eminem. Apparently, he was more into uh the I don't some songs from Eminem you just don't want to even say their titles, man. You know what I'm saying? But apparently, he was more into the criminal Eminem. That's you know what I mean? I'm thinking some songs like that. You know what I mean? Bitch Please Too. Maybe that's one I could say. You know what I'm saying? But when he's talking here, he's talking about rap god Eminem. Back then, people did not refer to Eminem as a rap god. You know what I'm saying? When Eminem was dropping Stan and he was dropping the real Slim Shady and he was and even when he, they didn't my band with D12, Eminem was not referred to as a rap god. Now, him doing his new records where he's rapping, increasing with his speed, and he's doing all different types of deliveries. This is one of the reasons that he had started being referred to as a rap god, at least in my take, because I remember back in the day when Eminem was coming out with albums and he would drop a song like The Way I Am, or even go a little bit further to when he had actually, released the D12 projects. He wasn't actually being called a rap god. Um, M pays attention. He knows all that shit on Game from the beginning. He's gonna get Game. He's gonna cry. Ooh, man, Game actually got into it a little bit though in this one. So, like I said, at one point, the game said that he thought Eminem was better than Jay Z. How do I compare Eminem and Jay Z? It's hard to compare them when it comes to their musical achievements on a solo tip because they've both had albums that have been majorly successful. Jay, a few more than M. I look at Jay-Z a little bit higher than M when it's all said and done because of the aspects that Jay-Z has done with record labels, being at the helm of Def Jam, running Rock Nation, Rockefeller Records, the clothing lines that he's gotten out of. All of these different deals is something that I put into my category when I think of the best artist in the game. Eminem was off to the races with Shady Records. Now, Shady Records has gone places Black Wall Street never went. Shady Records actually signed an artist that went global, 50 Cent. They signed a group, D12. You know what I mean? They actually signed different artists. They signed Obi Trice. They tried to bring Stat Quo in, and we actually heard about these guys. But Eminem's label didn't really go to where it was supposed to go. He kind of slouched on his label a little bit, and that's just me speaking as somebody who watched it happen. But if I'm comparing the situation with the game in Eminem, the game's label never really got going. Compton Menace and Juice didn't, and Your Boy, another one that I really, really thought was dope. Your Boy was really the dopest one that the game had. None of these artists got their shine. None of them got their just due. It was kind of like when Suge Knight was running the row and he had Crooked Eye and Eastwood there, and they just weren't able to get any type of opportunity. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really get it. Why didn't Your Boy, why didn't Compton Menace, why didn't Juice get more of an opportunity? Game had three dope artists right behind him. It's kind of like the Jim Jones effect when he didn't do anything with Max B or Stack Bundles, but I'm just making a couple comparison. What's up? What's up, Zioneer? Appreciate you for tapping in. I wanted to come on and do a live. I'm going to be dropping a video a little bit later tonight, but I wanted to come on live and do a joint. Sorry about that. I had to reply to a text. Pac didn't respect Jay-Z. That's all I'm gonna say about Jay. Man. Well, Pac actually ended up having a lot of respect for Nas. You know what I mean? When they eventually came face to face. So let's not discredit what could have potentially happened in the future. These men could have been business partners on different type of levels. You know what I'm saying? I'm just watching a video today of Michael Jackson walking on the stage with Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Michael Jackson obviously saw that Jay-Z was going to become one of the biggest things on earth, so he wanted to give that amazing endorsement, you know. Yep. Yep, Miguel. Okay, Miguel, appreciate you for tapping in. And I just so hold on. Now we're still comparing with J and M because I'm gonna say Jay gave us Rihanna, man. Jay gave us Rihanna, man. I'm just gonna point that out there, man. Not gonna go ahead and say Rihanna's bigger than 50 Cent. That's a debatable right there. The Green. Well, we're gonna get into that, Chris. So the game went on, man. He said at one point in my career, no, he said the game said this, you guys. He said, you did it with MGK. Why not do it with me? You did it with Mariah Carey. You did it with Nick Cannon. Game explained why he went in on them. He said, you want to know why? Because 50 Cent can't rap. So I have to level up. It's like me. I got to level up. Soon enough, I'll level up. Game said, I have to level up and challenge the better rapper. That's why. And not to take anything away from what 50 is doing. He can see it and he can tweet it, but he knows I'm going to respond, or he can go and rap about it, but he's going to lose that battle. So, 50 usually responds with a tweet. He usually responds with a message or a picture of some sort, making somebody look like a complete jackass in the process, or maybe getting them a bunch of followers in the process. You know what I mean? I'm still waiting on that 50 Cent effect. It's like the butterfly effect. You know what I mean? What would have happened if you would go in the past and 50 Cent would have put up a meme about you? So Game explained why he went in on them here, man. And he basically said it's because 50 Cent can't rap. So I have to level up and challenge the better rapper. That's why. And not to take away anything from what 50 is doing. He can see it, he can tweet it, but he knows I'm going to respond. So we can go and rap about it, but he's going to lose that battle. Now, 50 is not going to rap about it, man. Like, Game, 50 is not going to rap about this, man. The 50 only makes records for the beginning of his TV shows. Now, I mean, if you mean rap about it in the new show that's allegedly being produced about the Game and 50 Cent beef, I mean, I could see that happening. I could see that happening 100%. I could see him making a whole beginning to the episode of a song where he just totally disses the hell out of you. Now, that could be the case, and you could respond to it one time. You can respond to 50's diss one time, but that song is going to play every time the television show airs. Now, hell, I don't know how it goes if it airs on the Stars, if 50 retains ownership. One day that show could air on national television and pick up syndication to air throughout the year. What are you going to do, Game? Are you going to release a diss song on 50 Cent every time the television show plays where he's dissing you? Checkmate. Checkmate on this situation if 50 does what he has the capability of doing. He can make a Game diss song that lives on forever, that is remembered for 100 years after 300 bars is forgotten. Let's just be real about this. Let's be real about this shit. Sturdy says 50 Cent can 100% rap. He just don't care for bars. If you go and listen to, I'm going to put up a poll right now. I'm going to put up a poll. I want to know what was the better album. I want to know what was the better independent album. I want to know, you guys. I'm putting up a poll. I'm putting up the poll right now, you guys. Everybody can vote in the poll. Appreciate you, King. I want to know, what does everybody think? What was the better independent album? When both of these artists dropped an independent album, The Game dropped Untold Story, 50 Cent dropped Power of the Dollar. What was the better independent album? I want you all to know, or I want to know from y'all. I want to know from y'all. Um, So yeah, the Game's explanation of why he went on Eminem, it's pretty typical. I mean, we see this a lot of times. You know what I mean? When when you're playing a game, you usually level up. You usually go from one boss to the next. You know what I'm saying? The Game has made it through the G Unit members. The Game has made it through 50 Cent, and now he's on his way up. He's on his way to Eminem. He's on his way to Eminem, where he wants to compete. And he's saying, you've gone against Nick Cannon. Hell, you even went against MGK. I don't know why he brought up the Mariah thing, man. I don't know why he brought up the Mariah thing. Maybe because Mariah at one point had released the Why You So Obsessed With Me or something like that. I need everybody to share this video. Let everybody know Mikey T is in here breaking down the whole situation, man. And we're keeping it as real as we can about this shit. It doesn't get no realer than this hip hop channel, you guys. It really doesn't. I respect what everybody else is doing. I respect all the other guys doing it. A lot of these guys is my son's sons. You know what I'm saying? They watch me. They studied it. They're like, damn, Mikey does it. It's cool though. Show me love. Show me love. But let's get it rocking right here, because the Game is explaining something we've all been wondering about since Whack 100 spoke on it, y'all. Pew, Oliver, appreciate you for tapping in. Nick and Mariah, MGK was all personal though. Very good point. Very good point. T2, major salute on the tap in. Yeah, the fact that all those rivalries had a element of being personal is a reason that Eminem probably responded. Now, the Game, if he drops a record that irks, you know what I mean? That irks Eminem, that just he can't shake it. You know what I mean? He wakes up in the morning and he goes gets a burrito, a breakfast burrito. I hear M eats a lot of burritos back in the day. But if and he just can't shake it in the morning to where he's like, all right, I'm going to the studio. I'm going to the studio and I'm dropping the response record to the Game. But at that point, like Whack 100 had said, if 50 Cent jumps in on the record, if 50 Cent jumps in on the record, then they automatically lose. Well, if Eminem starts recording a record and actually releases it against the Game automatically wins, you guys. The Game has a new album coming out. You know what I mean? The Game has a new album coming out, you guys, called Drillmatic. He has the single with Kanye West. I think they're about to take the advice that I just shelled out a few seconds ago, that the Game missed out on for his Doctor's Advocate album. 300 bars should have been released as a special, you know what I mean? If the timing was right, 300 bars or a diss song should have been as a bonus track. But because of the fact that Jimmy Iovine probably controlled everything at the end of the day, that would have never in life been possible. But now the Game is on his own tip. The Game is on his solo shit, independent market in front of the Game. The Game can drop diss records on his albums, man. Power of the dollar over the Game's catalog. I need everybody to share this video, man, but it's all good. Let's just get back into the news. So Game brought up the past. He said there is no 2005 to 2006 animosity with 50 Cent. I watch Power. I watch 50 shows. BMF is great, but I'm a rapper. He's a rapper. I'm the better rapper. I'm not a better TV producer, but when it comes to rap, he can't out rap me. Your buddy, the guy who 50 Cent calls his buddy, you guys, you remember when 50 Cent faced up with Kanye at the BET 106 in Park, and Kanye brought out Jigga? You know what I'm saying? Kanye brought out Jay. 50 was like, damn, I wish I would have brought out my buddy Eminem so I could have evened the odds. And that's why the game here is saying he can't out rap me. Your buddy can rap though. Your buddy can rap though, you guys. That's what the game is saying. And that's why the game wants to go at him. The game is saying 50 is a rapper, but the game kind of knows, as we all know, 50 has kind of stepped back from that shit. You know what I mean? 50 has stepped back from the rap really since his third album, Curtis. If we're being 100% real, since his third album, Curtis, 50 really fell back. But once Before I Self Destruct came out and that shit tanked like never before, I'm talking, and if Coi Leray does do 11,000 records first week, that is going to probably be about as bad as to her as 160,000 units was to 50 Cent for Before I Self Destruct. For 50 Cent to go from 1.1 million on The Massacre, 691,000 on Curtis, to 160, 150,000 on Before I Self Destruct, that was one of the biggest falls in hip hop history. Rick Ross could never have a fall from grace that large because of the fact that his albums never moved those units. That must have broke my man Fifth's heart when he went from 800,000 2 weeks in a row, 1.1 million, as Jadakiss said, in a short week, 690,000 competing against Kanye, which he should have never done. He should have just released his album respectfully, and he probably would have moved 800,000 units respectfully, even though all the singles on Curtis were trash. But I've always said I think he should have flipped Curtis and Before I Self Destruct around, just like he said. Big Ice, if Coi does 11K first week, that is going to be a huge disappointment. I seen my guy Adam 22 actually post that on No Jumper. If it's a big L or not, I gotta say it would be considered an L. It would be considered an L to me if Coi Leray comes out and sells 11K. And yo, I remember back in the day, Benzino actually played Coi Leray's music for me, but she was much younger. It was some of the videos that Benzino actually produced for Coi Leray. But you know, I'll save those stories for when some people want to come around and actually interview me about that shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I've met a lot of these stars, you know, before they were actually major stars in the game and shit like that. I'm glad I got some people in here who recognize me from different places. That's pretty sweet. Appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. Subscribe to the channel if you're not, man. All the latest hip hop news is always on this channel, whether we're doing pre-recorded videos or live exclusives, you know, where we basically interact with all the people in the chat. Highly Qualified said self-destruct sucked, but Highly Qualified, did you vote in the poll? If you're just getting in here, I want to know. I'm not Joe, y'all, but I want to know who had the better album. Was it 50 Cent, the better independent album, 50 Cent Power of the Dollar, or The Game Untold Story? Ooh, Enzo, my guy. He said Game saw that chance to jump on the Super Bowl wave, and now he's holding tight. You know, it's kind of crazy when you think about that whole situation with the Game not being included in the Super Bowl. Like the fact that the Game has to think about that, like I can only imagine he's thinking something along the lines of, all right, so now they didn't include me in the moment that is going to be remembered forever. You know, at the end of the existence, when all you have is, you know, the documents of history, and they check in on all the Super Bowls in the world that we ever did on Earth, and then on those discs or whatever type of, you know, data it comes in, you're going to see all the halftime shows, and you're going to see 50 Cent and Dr. Dre and Snoop and their movement being immortalized in the history of the world. And who was left out of that, you guys? And who was left out? Yo, Joel, chill out on the likes, bro. When you tell people, when people, I don't need anybody logging out of the video, Joel. Sometimes when you tell people to like the video, they got to log out of the video, man. Come on now, man. Don't, I'm running the video here, brother. Pew says he was salty about not being on the Super Bowl for sure. He said that they could have called me like 5 times. Well, you know, Pew, it's like not really like that. Like if somebody doesn't want to call you, it doesn't mean they're going to call you like 5 times. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, they could have reached out to the game on a number of occasions. You even heard Snoop Dogg saying about all the records he would have liked to perform. You know what I mean? All the records that Snoop Dogg would have liked to perform, but he kept it for Dre. He kept it respectful to Dre. You know, if you look at the game situation, the game would have had to perform with 50 Cent. So the game would have had to be cool with 50 Cent at that point in time. Even though on Nori's show, Drink Champs, salute to EFN if he ever sees this video. But, you know, Game had said that he would have performed 300 bars. I mean, what are you going to perform 90 seconds of it? You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really make sense, to be honest with you. The Game performing 300 bars. It would have had to been one of the iconic songs with 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? It would have had to been one of the iconic songs with 50 Cent. And I say that to say this. The Game saying, oh, they could have called me. The Game would have remained cordial. The Game would have played it cool. But now look what he's doing. Now he's just dissing them on some of that, you know, halfway shit. You know what I mean? It's some halfway shit. It's like, dude, we expected this from you. That's why you didn't get the call from the Super Bowl. I think history has already been written for these guys. You know what I mean? So maybe Eminem won't respond to a Game diss. But the Game in this interview pretty much said that even if Eminem doesn't respond, he's still going to have his part of history out there. LA Realist says, bruh, he wasn't salty. Keep it 100. I'm wondering, LA Realist, did you miss the whole thing when I was just talking about the fact that the Super Bowl performances, the Super Bowl footage in general is something that's going to be immortalized into the history of the world. And now the whole, you know, this year's Super Bowl, Dr. Dre, we had the West Coast, the vibe that we all grew up on and loved, you know, that freaking transitioned music to what it is today. You know what I mean? Like Dre and all them from the West Coast, the G-Funk is probably it's probably the best era of music, unless you're loving your Young Thug shit. You know what I mean? And I like me some Young Thug. I'm a Young Thug guy. I'm a Future guy. You know what I mean? I like the Migos, Gucci Man. I like this whole new young generation. But just to be real with you, I don't think it tops the G-Funk era. That's just me personally. That's my favorite era of the shit. Like when it comes to listening to some music, you can always put on some Dr. Dre and some Snoop Dogg, man. It's, to me, it's even better than, you know, Get Rich or Die Trying. But obviously you got a lot of fans in both directions. Sword of the Jedi. Appreciate you for tapping in. The Sword of the Jedi. The Game is not in the same class as them. They didn't want him on the show, so he wasn't. He needs to get over it before M puts him out of the game forever. Yo, man, that's hilarious. You say that. You know, the Game went back in. So the Game said that he watches BMF. Interesting enough, the Game watches BMF. I wonder why BMF's, from the numbers I was reading, it only looked like 500,000 people tuned in to watch BMF when it actually premiered. So I don't really like, where are you watching it from, Game? Are you watching it from a device where it can actually be calculating into the ratings for 50 Cent? Or are you watching it on some Fire Stick shit? You know what I mean? Like, let's be real about it, man. P Skrilla, what's popping? Yeah, man, the G Funk era, man. I feel like it transitioned hip hop to what it is today, just to be real. Enzo says the game will never release that diss. I don't even think it exists. Guys, I'm going to change the poll since this one was a little bit one-sided. The game Untold Story probably went unheard by a lot of people. So I'm going to ask, what was the better actual studio debut album? That's what I'm going to ask this time. A little bit more up to date for everybody watching. Actually, to ask the studio debut album. Excuse me while I get everything situated and I light this runts back up. If you guys are smoking, let me know what you're smoking in the chat. I got some runts on deck. Definitely appreciate everybody tapping in, man. So Game went back in on Eminem, though. He said nobody really takes shots at Eminem on this preconceived notion that he's better than everybody. Well, I want action. That's what the Game said. He said he wants action. He's talking about how nobody takes shots at Eminem. I don't know, man. Nobody takes shots at Eminem. A lot of people have taken shots at Eminem over the years, but a lot of people respect M as well because of the people that he's worked with. I mean, Eminem went and worked with Jadakiss and the D Block guys. You know what I mean? Welcome to D Block comes to mind right away. You know what I mean? Helping to put them on the map. You know what I'm saying? Even in more recent years, Eminem working with Conway, West Side Gun, putting these guys on. You know what I'm saying? So Eminem has really always seemingly kept to the music that interests him. Now, how Stat Quo got involved in the equation, I would like to hear that story just because I always wish that we got that ATL representation of Aftermath. Better debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying or the documentary, you guys? I'm asking you guys, man. I want everybody to vote in this poll. I'm going to light up real quick. So basically, Game is saying that nobody really takes shots at Eminem because of this preconceived notion that he's better than everybody else. Preconceived notion that he's better than everybody else. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure not everybody was saying that Eminem was better than Jay-Z and Nas. You know what I mean? You know, so people have their own opinions and shit like that. You know what I mean? The guys like Jadakiss and people like Fabulous, people that can actually rap. You know what I mean? People were not saying that Eminem was better than all of them. People that could actually rap. You know what I mean? People like actually no, I'm not gonna go there. That guy's my dog. He's let me smoke a lot of weed. Lionel's rolling up with me. What you smoking, Lionel? Oh man, nah, man. It would have to be the Massacre versus the Doctor's Advocate, bro. And then I think the Game would finally get 50 with I think the Game would finally get 50 with LAX over Curtis, though. Rasheem says that the Game is not better than 50. That's my opinion. Yeah, man. Everybody's entitled to their opinions, bro. You know, some people like Game for different reasons than they like 50. You know what I mean? Some people are just more overall invested in 50 as an entertainer. You know, being the fact that we've been able to watch him on several different platforms, whether it's television, movies, commercials, you know what I'm saying? Any different type of platform. You know, the Game, he has fans based on the fact that, you know, he's a dope ass rapper. He's had a couple different shows, nothing that I've ever watched really, though. You know what I mean? Like I said, I kind of fell back from the game to a certain extent after I found out that he wasn't going to take his career in the route that I thought would have been best for him. I'm like, damn, man, it would have been awesome to see you with G Unit and rocking on the follow up album to Beg for Mercy. But no, we got to see the game kind of do the stop snitching, stop lying, which I wasn't even able to find anywhere to purchase. You know what I mean? It was like, then he came back with One Blood and the Doctor's Advocate. It was cool. LAX, I'm still rocking. You know what I mean? LAX, I'm still rocking, but nobody else seemed to be rocking anymore. The game comes out with a major song featuring Keisha Cole, and nobody seemed to care. It was like, wow, the game's relevancy has really declined. Um, but not so much in the record sales, though, man. Not so much in the well, actually, no, because this. Nah, Rasheem, that's why I was saying you must have not been in yet, but that's why I was saying like 50 Cent when it comes to actually recording music, like the game says 50 Cent can't rap. 50 Cent just had a bunch of dope intros for all of his shows. Records with Little Dirk, records with Moneybagg Yo. Those records date back a little bit though, but still to have that shit in the can, you know what I mean? It shows me something, you know, to have those records in the can to use 20 years later to successfully promote a project. I mean, it says a lot more. I did a poll, you know, like of one of the new 50 songs versus the game's new song Easy, and 50 song won. Just some guy says M doesn't get the respect he deserves, in my opinion. Well, I mean, a lot of people like what the game is saying. Like the game said, the rap god where. A lot of people were hitting Eminem with that moniker, the rap god, or maybe it was just the title of an Eminem song. What makes a rap god to me isn't necessarily how fast he can spit his lyrics. You know what I mean? But I think there's a little bit more to it than just the quickness of the lyric, the delivery and the cadence and the actual the way that the word rhymes, all those different type of things play into that factor. But, you know, I'm kind of listening to the game for aggression. You know what I mean? One of my favorite game songs, West Side Story. You know what I mean? It's one of my favorite game songs. Start from scratch. The Doctor's Advocate, the title track. You know, a lot of these songs, when you hear that pure emotion, you get pure emotion out of the game too. Darth Rashid says, I don't relate to Eminem, which is why I was questioning why somebody like the game actually was saying all this stuff about Eminem was so dope back in those days when they was, you know, when it was Shady Aftermath G Unit days, when it was really the Interscope family days. The game said that Eminem was so good back then, which is when I was more into Eminem. You know what I mean? I was more into Eminem back in those days, the 2003, 4, 5. Then Eminem fell off and he when he did When I'm Gone. You know what I mean? He did When I'm Gone. He drops the compilation with the one new song, and it still goes platinum or whatever, a couple times platinum. But just because I'm explaining to you guys when I fell off from artists, that's when I fell off from Eminem. You know what I mean? When he did that When I'm Gone track. And I'm like, no, that's not really the sound that I like from you to really be making your voice go like that. And then with Young Thug, I fell off from Young Thug when he did that song Guwap's Home. And Young Thug started changing his voice because at the end of the day, we are listening to music, you know, to be entertained. We're listening to music to be soothed. You know what I mean? We're listening to music to, you know what I mean? To move the way we want to move, whatever reason that we're listening to music, you guys. We're not listening to music that doesn't make us like what we're hearing. You know what I mean? So when Young Thug started changing his voice and the game's new record, Easy, I'm not really feeling his delivery in comparison to everything else he's done. You know, I'm just keeping it real to myself. You know what I mean? I'm keeping it real to what I'm going to stream or what I'm going to purchase. Yeah, Pew, I really wasn't feeling the way Eminem sung the hook. I really wasn't feeling the voice that Eminem, his voice was way too deep. He started exploring more with that really deep voice, and I really wasn't feeling it. You know what I'm saying? The Game's voice, though, on Easy, it's a little bit too light for me. You know what I mean? But let me tell you guys, man, sometimes I've told a couple rappers like in person about the way that their voice sounded. I'm like just trying to give them some constructive criticism, and they really don't listen. They really don't listen, you guys. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, it's like, why are you deepening your voice so much? Do you really need to make your voice so deep? You know what I'm saying? It would sound better if it was just like the way you're talking. Darth says Game thinks that Hit Boy and Kanye are going to save his career. Darth, if you've purchased Game's albums in the past, even from the get go, he's always worked with an array of producers. He's always worked with so many different producers, which makes me go, damn, the Game is smart because he's kept all those relationships open, from the Just Blaze to the Kanye West. You know what I'm saying? To the Swiss Beats, to, like you're saying, to Hit Boy now. And you know what I'm saying? Linking back up with Ye. Like, the Game is a freaking dope rapper when it comes to that shit. He was in the studio with Cool and Dre. You know what I'm saying? Like, this guy is a genius when it comes to that shit. Does 50 have as many producers in his back pocket as the Game? I don't think so. But like the Game said, he's more of the better rapper. 50 Cent produces television shows. You know what I mean? 50 Cent produces television shows. Now, the Game has Scott Storch by his side. 50 Cent could do a whole TV show with Scott Storch. Different, what is the saying? Different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? Game does a hit with Scott Storch. 50 does a hit movie with Scott Storch. Major salute, major salute. Major salute. So let's get back into it. So Game had said nobody really takes shots at Eminem on the notion that he's better than everybody. Well, I want action, and I want it today. And if you are a rapper or a rap god, am I a blog god? Am I a blog god? Maybe. But if you a rap god, control me. Put me in my place. Because if he out raps me, I'm going to feel like shit. He got it. And when I don't really remember this statement from the Game, I can't remember it to the point where I think the Game said that Machine Gun Kelly got Eminem or something. I don't want to say that like that. Some people out there, though, saying that Machine Gun Kelly got Eminem, they couldn't be more wrong. I've interviewed Machine Gun Kelly in the past. Machine Gun Kelly is a dope ass artist, from rap to the new soft rock shit he's doing, to in his career blowing up to the way it is right now. But the two difference between the Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly songs is that Eminem put out a record that Machine Gun Kelly could not respond to. There was no way that Machine Gun Kelly could have responded to Eminem's track. And if he did, nobody would have cared. If he did, I wouldn't even be putting it into consider. I wouldn't have heard it. The way that Eminem came at Machine Gun Kelly on that track, it was just so innovative. It was so different. I don't think we ever in life heard a diss track like that. So Game here is saying that if he out raps me, I'll feel like shit. He got it. I'll feel like shit. He got it. And that's one of the most interesting aspects of this. Will he get him? Will the Game be able to respond where there's merit? That's one thing that the Game has always been able to do: make a slew of diss songs, 300 bars, 240 bars, 120 bars. You know what I mean? The Game has always been able to keep you interested when it comes to the diss tracks. He just keeps revealing more and more information, finding different shit to take shots at. This Eminem and Game thing could be very interesting. Will it be a one-off? Will it just be one response? Will there be any response? Will they make the Game feel as irrelevant as they made him feel at the Super Bowl by not responding? Will Dr. Dre step in and say, Game, if you release that Eminem diss track, I will never work with you again? A whole number of things could happen. Like I believe in hold on, what happened on my poll? Is my poll still up there, you guys? Like I believe in the past when Drake and Pusha T were going at it, some people had to step in to make sure no more diss tracks were released. Yeah, Kenny, I was just pointing out obvious facts. You know what I mean? Like, some people are going to be considered better than others, but, like when you got your mainstays in the game, man, you know what I'm saying? Eminem he worked with a lot of artists too. You know what I mean? Working with T.I., Lil Wayne, you know what I mean? A lot of these guys actually stick up for Eminem that he works with. You know what I mean? In interviews, I've heard T.I. saying a number of times and Lil Wayne saying a number of times how much they respect him. The fact that, M and J have worked together, so in reality, Jay and the game don't mix at all either. Jay and game don't mix at all. Jay and game don't mix at all. So I'm just wondering who will come to game's aid in this. He's not really going to need anybody. Sort of like in the Wiz situation. This is what I'm really comparing it to, you guys. In the Wiz situation, going against Gilly the Kid, it's like we've seen 21 Savage now actually repost Gilly speaking on Wiz. Where is everybody? Nobody in the industry seems like they're coming to Wiz's aid right now. You know what I mean? Wiz is kind of getting Ja ruled right now. Oh, but wow. You guys are right, man. Hold on, what's going on with this? Let me get this shit down. It's slowing up my internet on my other Mac. Wow, the poll is crazy because Get Rich or Die Trying really, really absolutely slayed the documentary. So let me see where we are at with this. So Game went on. He said Game brought up the past. And I'm talking about how I'm talking about Hove and Nas, Takeover and Ether. One of them has to feel like they won. Somebody knows who got the edge a little bit in Takeover. And Takeover was amazing and Ether was amazing. Let's have our moment or I'm going to have it by myself. See, that last part of it actually, it made me go, damn, he's going to have his moment by himself. The game, no matter what, the game is going to release his diss track on Eminem, you guys. The game is planning on releasing the track, the Lyrical Spar. I guess you call it a diss track. We'll have to see how far he really takes it. I don't see him bringing up anything too personal. What could he really bring up? Whack 100 had said that he possibly is going to be dissing him on his own beats. He's going to be dissing him on his own beats. What's he going to be dissing him about? Is he going to be dissing on him about, just like the way he came into the industry, how he wouldn't have been, if he wouldn't have been shit without Dr. Dre, you know what I mean? How everybody was looking for Dre's next project, and that was the reason that he blew up. Are these going to be some of the things that the game goes at him with? I really don't know. Like, Darth says, if I was M, I would ignore him. Which I think maybe Dre will tell him to do, but honestly, I don't think if Game comes at M, that Dre's going to be telling him to ignore it. Like if Game comes as hard as we're all thinking he's going to come, pause. I don't think Dre's going to tell M to fall back. Like it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? He's going to M do you. But like I said, the moment that Eminem responds, the game gets taken to another level. Does he get taken to that level that he got left off of at the Super Bowl? Absolutely not. This isn't the same thing. You know what I mean? That was kind of like a corporate decision that greatly affected the game's career. Kind of like the time that I got left off of Revolt TV. You know what I mean? But weigh it out. The game got left off the Super Bowl with how many millions of people watching? Mikey T got left off of Revolt TV one time. You know what I mean? But that hurt me. Maybe I'll tell that story. So if you ever see it on the channel, Mikey T tells the time that he got left off of Revolt TV. Check it out on the channel. I might start putting out more stories about my career on the channel, little snippets, 5-7 minute clips y'all can watch and learn more about me. Just some guy. Let's be real. How many day-to-day citizens are out here robbing, stealing on a daily basis? Come on, bro. Don't put up such a comment like that, man. I was just about to say, should I read this comment? M is whack. Subject matter is lame. Well, Kenny, man, I don't know. I disagree with that, bro. If you listen to Eminem's first album, he has or his second album, he has a song called "The Way I Am," which is pretty dope. It's probably my favorite Eminem song. So go listen to that. Plus, he has different records. Like he has this one joint called Bonnie and Clyde on his first album, which is really cool. Kind of like Stan almost in a way. You got to, check out some of those records, man. You probably have heard both of those records. But the subject matter on The Way I Am was it was kind of like getting to the point where you were so famous where you couldn't even do the regular shit, so that subject matter was actually pretty interesting to me. It's not all the cliche subject matter that you hear about out there. Eminem was addressing some stuff like, blowing up in the industry and, not being able to do the regular things in life anymore. Maraza, I don't know about that. Eminem's been doing it. Loki said Eminem's been doing it since the 90s. Where's the game right now? Well, the game is actually still relevant. You know what I mean? In reality, the game is relevant, you guys. If you look at Kanye West, probably the most prolific rapper of our time. You know what I mean? At this point, maybe some people would have said it was going to be 50 Cent, but as time has been tested, it's definitely Ye. You know what I mean? Look at the situation right there. Kanye West creates clothing and he puts it on the game. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, Kanye West uses the game as one of his models. You know what I'm saying? So every person can see some dope ass clothes that he's creating. Shit, it's working hand in hand for them, man. Like the game is like the everyday person to Kanye West. Why? Because the majority of the everyday people see him and they're like, oh shit, look at that jacket. Look at that. Look at that puffy black jacket that the game is wearing. I don't know if he had the game in any of his boots yet, man, but I seen Little Baby actually rocking big ass green boots now, you guys. Yo, 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 what's popping? Yo, you're Darth. Darth, miss me with that Kanye is garbage shit. Are you kidding me? The college dropout? Late registration? Graduation? 808s and heartbreaks? My beautiful dark twisted fantasy? Like, come on, man. Like, when you can name an artist catalog just off the top of your head like that, you can't go around calling them trash, man. You know what I'm saying? All respect to the Big L. Nas has an amazing catalog. Big L, I felt like the fact that he only got 2 albums, it really, it really sucked. You know what I mean? Even with Big, they were able to carve out just a little bit more music. Not that much. You know what I mean? Not that much, but we got a little bit more music out of Big. And then they pushed it a little bit too far on that Biggie Duets. What was that? Was that the Biggie Duets album? It's the Biggie Duets. That was a little bit too much. Darth listens to De La Soul when he sleeps. Miraza says, listen to Best Friend and tell me you never had a friend. Are you kidding me? Diamonds Are Forever, Flashing Lights. These are timeless raps. I don't think 50 had a better rap. I'm just being real, you guys. I'm just being real right here. I don't think 50 Cent had a better rap since Power of the Dollar than Flashing Lights, Kanye West. Kanye West Flashing Lights is better than any rap song 50 put out besides tracks on the Power of the Dollar. Just name a song that's better and I'll compare it. Because In the Club is a much more popular song, but it's not better bar for bar. It's not better. It's not better lyric wise. You know, Kanye West hasn't smashed on that. Best Friend is an Eminem song. Yep, Jadakiss is a legend. Love Kiss, man. Love Kiss's music, man. You know, with Kiss, he has his albums as well. You know what I mean? He has all three of his main albums, and then you got his top 5 Dead or Alive album. But Kiss is also known for a lot of his collaborations. You know what I mean? And a lot of his joint projects. You know what I'm saying? Kiss has a very, very big body of work. Yeah, Pew. I don't think Andre 3K. I don't think 3 Stacks. A Legendary. You got me. You got me. You got me, Legendary. Salute. Yeah, I'll give it to Many Men. Can you name another one though, bro? Can you name another one? Because I'm not giving it to. Don't even say Back Down, bro. Just Some says, do you think M would respond? Well, you know, he's saying you responded to Machine Gun Kelly. He's saying you dissed Nick Cannon, the gigolo. So why wouldn't he respond, man? Why wouldn't Eminem respond with 300 bars himself? Stop it, Legendary. I get your point, man. Damn it. Legendary definitely got me. It's not worth it for Eminem. Well, I mean, if my memory serves, after everything popped off with Eminem and MGK, Eminem released an album as well. Machine Gun Kelly released an EP that didn't really do that great. Machine Gun Kelly's EP did about 24,000 copies first week, but Eminem dropped an album. But the Omega Jedi, what's wrong with putting out a song? What's wrong with the game putting out a song on the internet that everybody is going to want to stream? It's probably going to get double the amount of streams as easy. Then when Eminem responds, people are going to go listen to the game's record again. Like, so what's really the problem with the game releasing a diss track on M to stream the album, to get the album heard by more people? The game said it. One of the very first things he said, he's not trying to do anything other than ignite hip hop with this, to create a conversation, to create talk, man. You know, I think that's what the game is trying to do here. Not trying to go see M. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't think it's going to get on a personal level in this song. It maybe if Eminem doesn't respond, the game releases another track to bait him out. You know what I mean? Possibly. I mean, it's being alleged that he has 2 songs ready to go already. But I'm telling you guys, Eminem needs to respond with 300 bars. Tyson Garcia says M made MGK go pop goth. But yo, Tyson, You probably heard me say it, but MGK has done more units. MGK has actually sold more units now. Like he sold like triple the amount of units than he was selling back then, bro. Like he's actually selling like 140,000 copies now first week and shit. So he's actually doing pretty well. That's the funny thing. I don't really chalk that up to Eminem dissing him. Like, I'm not saying that Eminem dissing him gave him a fan base. I think it's the quality of Machine Gun Kelly's music. I think Machine Gun Kelly actually makes better pop rock music than he does hip hop music. I guess what was his biggest hip hop song, you guys? What was it like? The Wild Boys with Waka Flocka. You know what I mean? Legendary, but MGK actually did good on the diss record against M, not gonna lie. Yeah, but Legendary, I was just saying a little bit earlier, Eminem's response was really just your unconventional type of track. You never really heard somebody rap the way Eminem did on his diss track with Machine Gun Kelly, and Machine Gun Kelly could not come back at that, man. It was pretty much over with that record. Yeah, yeah, Lasac, it's Wild Boy. Wild Boy. So let's talk about this Young Buck situation because Young Buck is complaining again after, he's complaining about his G Unit deal again. You know what I mean? I'm kind of shocked that he's actually still signed to G Unit, to be 100% honest with you guys. Like, I'm actually a little bit shocked that he's still signed with G Unit, to be 100 with you. You know what I mean? But 50 actually got him wrapped up in that deal from a few years ago when he actually signed him back to be a part of G Unit Records, because when he had actually signed Buck, he signed him to do a group album and a solo album. And bro, that's a red flag, man. That's a major red flag, Buck. Why are you signing to 50 again for a solo album? Like, Buck, sure, sign to 50 for the group album, do the G Unit thing with Kid and all the guys, but then use that to get yourself some momentum to release your own project. Right. But Colossal says Rap Devil was a response to Not Alike. But Colossal, did MGK never responded to the Kill Shot record by Eminem though. Well, Martian, he's drumming up the interest. You know what I mean? He just put 50 on blast because he knows now 50 is gonna put up a post about it in the next few days. But 50 actually put up a post about Young Buck. I think he actually said, Young Buck, Benzino, just embrace who you are. He put up a post about Buck now because Buck is on the internet pretty much saying uh that he's at a standstill with 50 when it comes to the music. But he's also saying that he's not looking to go through a long, drawn out court situation when it can all get handled and be done on a business level. I feel like if we had that conversation to get some clarity, he can get what he's looking for from me, and I can get what I need from him, and I can move on with my life. Uh, at this point, I'm just wondering what is 50 Cent even going to be looking for from Young Buck? Young Buck is not at a point in time where he like it was back in the day when he was releasing hit singles, when he was working with Linkin Park, when he was working, you know what I mean? When he was working with Snoop Dogg and Trick Daddy, and he had the pick of whoever wanted, Young Jeezy, whoever Buck wanted to work with back then, he could work with. It's not the same situation right now. I wonder why. So at this point in time, I think Buck owes 50 one more solo album. I think Buck owes 50 a solo album because of the fact that he signed him to a 2-album deal. Pitbull says the game is the best rapper alive. I know somebody in the chat asked, Mikey T, who had the game in their top 5? I know somebody asked that. Well, it is answered. It is answered right there. The game is in someone's top 5. Where does the game? I think the game doesn't come into my top 5. The game's probably a top 20 rapper to me. The game is probably a top 20 rapper to me. Martin, I'm saying, Martin says Game's doing all this because Dre didn't call him to perform at the Super Bowl. Don't be the person that owes 50 anything because he'll be coming looking for it come Monday. Game, best rapper, hell no. Legendary, I said I put Game probably in the top 20. Does Game make your top 20, would you say? He's trolling. Top 20 of all time. Oh, yeah, top 20 of all time. Yeah, Game would probably make the top 20 of the 2000s, right? Ooh, rah-rah. Rah-rah said top 60. Top 20 or 30. So Young Buck also said that 50, he said his biggest issue is that when he releases music that that he gets sent cease and desists based on the fact that, and everything gets pulled down based on the fact that he's still a G Unit artist. Everything gets pulled down based on the fact that he's a G Unit artist. So whenever he tries to release material, you guys, 50 Cent, G Unit, they pretty much have it taken down. I mean, shit, pretty much how we've heard about in the past. Birdman wouldn't clear Lil Wayne to jump on anybody's shit, or he was getting paid for it. You know, one year we saw Lil Wayne appear on how many different features? You know what I'm saying? So it's like obviously some people were clearing the shit. Yeah, you're right. You're right, bro. The Omega Jedi says about 16, 17 in the top 20. Jason, appreciate you for tapping in, man. Just going over these couple situations. I guess these G Unit topics, I guess you could say. You know, Young Buck pretty much complaining about the fact that Young Buck complaining about the fact that anytime he tries to release something, he can't do it. Well, I mean, Buck, you signed a contract to be a part of G Unit so that your next 2 projects or your next group project and your next singles project would come out under G Unit Records. It's pretty simple. You know what I mean? It's pretty simple to understand. You know, you signed yourself as an artist to a record company. Now, I do remember Meek Mill was saying something along the lines of to Rowdy Rebel, release mixtapes. The game tried, our Young Buck tried to do that. He's released several top 10 mixtapes. So what was it? Bullets, all these different projects he was releasing and shit like that. Hell, we even heard that he was working with DJ Paul. Legendary says 50 is in my personal top 5, but in general, I'd say 50 is a top 15, top 10. Major salute to Morocco. Major salute to Morocco. Major salute to my boy French Montana. Salute French Montana. Good ass dude right there. So Buck, you know, kind of pissed off, but 50 already gets at Buck on his Instagram, basically comparing him to Benzino, you know what I mean? And it's like, damn. So Buck is on here talking about he can get what he wants from me. Buck, I don't think 50 really has any future plans for you as a G Unit artist, bro. Like Buck has kind of dug himself into such a hole. I don't think it's possible to get out of. And I'm a young Buck fan. You know what I mean? I was a major young Buck fan. I'm the guy who watched him on Rap City, The Basement, come in from the beginning when he first signed with G Unit and kick one of the dopest freestyles. I'm the guy who watched him a few years later on that same program calling out Lil Wayne. I'm like, yo, Buck is on one, man. I'm like, what's Buck thinking, man? But at the same time, it was speculated that Tony Yayo was trying to beef with Jim Jones. So that's what all the G Unit guys were doing back then. You'd find somebody to sort of go at it with. You know what I mean? But Buck was doing more than that. Buck connected with the dude from Lincoln Park. Rest in peace, Chester. You know what I mean? Like he linked with the dude from Lincoln Park after Jay-Z and Lincoln Park did the Collision Course album. Like this guy had a lot of great creative ideas. But at this point, he's just dug himself into such a hole. I mean, shit, dissing G Unit in the first place, saying FG Unit when all of the short clips started going viral on the internet. And then you see him on the website. Young Buck actually was saying FG Unit because before that, you wouldn't really see every video. But then that video started circulating of Young Buck saying FG Unit. Then 50 released the phone call conversation. Once it was confirmed that Buck was basically out doing shows saying screw G Unit for whatever reason at this point, you know what I mean? Kind of absurd, maybe because they didn't get a second album out as quick. His second album dropped in 2007. Whoa. I think Buck said his new album is done. Buck has said several things about these albums, though, Legendary. He said several things about the album. I believe at one point Buck said Dre was going to be producing his album, which actually turned out to be an absolute, well, I mean, shit. You can't just say it's not true because Dre has worked on a lot of projects that haven't come out. Now, after the whole incident that happened with Dre and Buck at the Vibe Awards, where Buck really put his career on the line, a thriving career, you know what I mean? Buck was working with many, many people and really becoming the Southern representation. Buck really had an opportunity to be as big as Lil Wayne. That's why 50 has reinvested in Young Buck. At a certain point, Buck had an opportunity to be as big as Lil Wayne. Even when he got arrested and they had to put up the bail of $500,000, and all those guys made sure Buck did not go to jail. And I believe he got 5 years of probation for that shit. And it turned out he had actually used a fork. Young Buck's story is something, as a fan, I've followed, you know what I mean? But as somebody that's involved with hip hop, I've watched it play out in front of my eyes. Buck's situation got a little bit tight, when they released Terminate on Sight. And he decided that he wasn't going to go on tour with them and finish the album. They were going to go over to Asia, I believe, for an Asian tour, because they would do Europe, they would do Asia. You know what I mean? So they pretty much go everywhere with 50. And Buck decided that he wanted to stay and finish his tour in the South, and so that pretty much didn't allow him to finish the remainder of the album, the Terminate on Sight album, which I don't really like the title of, you guys. Jason says, I followed Young Buck too for a while when he started with G Unit. Maybe he meant Dre from Cool and Dre. Beast Ink Joe says, like 50 said, everybody can rap, but everybody can't make hit songs. And yeah, that was pretty evident for Young Buck when his second album came out and they released that song called Get Buck, When they released Get Buck, I was like, wow, this album is fitting to tank. Young Buck's album is about to tank. And it was upsetting because when you actually got the album and saw that he was doing things that were innovative as hell, and I don't even know if he knows this, because it's like, if I'm Young Buck, you guys, and y'all know I'm Mikey T, the movie star. Subscribe to this channel right now if you have not. Hit the notification bell so you never miss my live videos. I always interact with everybody in the chat. But yo, if I'm Young Buck, I'm going to 50. I'm going to Jimmy Iovine, even though a lot of people have told me they didn't really speak with Jimmy Iovine back in the day, even though they were signed to the label. I'm going to 50, and I'm like, yo, Fifth, I got this record with the dude from Linkin Park. I say we bring on the other dude from Linkin, and we make it an official Linkin Park feature. Like, I don't understand what he wasn't. Linkin Park was selling. They would have sold an extra 100,000 first week based on the fact that they had Linkin Park involved in the lead single. It's like throwing money off of a bridge, what they did right there. Yeah, his second album was good. It's just the presentation of it was horrible. You know, they had Life Jennings on a dope ass record. What was the record with Life Jennings called? You know, he had a lot of good records on that album. Probably the only record on Get Buck I didn't like, or the two. Get Buck was cool, but it wasn't a lead single. The only record I didn't like was the one that Eminem produced. Funny enough. And the only reason I didn't like that is because of Young Buck's delivery. Young Buck's delivery was 100% off on that record. Yep, slow your roll. Slow your roll. And what was that Eminem produced track? You know what I mean? That one I really wasn't feeling because of his flow on that. Buffalo in the building, major salute, major salute. Yeah, a lot of things started happening with Young Buck, you know, and then he started getting back to the music. He was going to name his third album The Rehab. Why is your third album going to be called The Rehab, Buck? And sure enough, Buck's project comes out, The Rehab, and it's not an album. And it's like, wow, there's got to be issues here with G Unit because 50 didn't release his album. And it can't be for that simple fact. Like, if I put myself in 50's shoes, I'm not going to be saying, yo, I'm not going to release Young Buck's album because it's called The Rehab. That just sounds a little ridiculous, even though I feel like it's a very underwhelming album title, especially to follow Straight Outta Cashville and Get Buck. Get Bucked. Oh, Buck the World. My bad. My bad. Buck the World. Yes. Oh, that was actually the Buck the World track? Yeah. No. The Eminem one. Yeah. Buck the World. Yeah, it was trash, man. Very disappointing to hear Eminem's you know, product on Young Buck's album going to waste. It's like, you would have thought Young Buck collabing with M would have been like a major thing. You know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, they got production from M. That's what's up. You know what I mean? It's like something you get hyped on. Lee May says the Game only has 2 classic albums. Eminem's got 8 classic albums. The Game could never. Let me think about that. Eminem has 8 classic albums. First of all, we're throwing around the term classic way too loose there. Because we can call the documentary a classic. You know what I mean? We can call the documentary a classic, but I'm not going to go throw classic on the Doctor's Advocate. I'm just not going to do that. I'm not going to call the Doctor's Advocate album a classic. It left you know what I mean? It just wasn't a classic. It was a very, very good album. Now, 8 classic Eminem albums. The first Eminem album, and I'm not referring to Infinite, the real Slim Shady to me was not a classic. Marshall Mathers LP was a classic album. Probably, yeah, his best album on his catalog. The Eminem Show was his second best album. So I'd say Eminem probably has 2 classic albums. But Encore, Relapse, Recovery, not classic albums to me. Marshall Mathers LP, not classic album. You know what I mean? Uh, I've never, I've listened to Recovery. It wasn't really for me. I liked Relapse more than Recovery, but Relapse was not a classic album. Relapse was better than the Slim Shady LP, though. I'll give it that. Although the Slim Shady LP did have some songs on it, like say Rock Bottom, or like that record I mentioned earlier, Bonnie and Clyde. Um, but some of the songs like Brain Damage, Guilty Conscience was okay, never really my favorite. Role Model. There's better songs than that on the Relapse album. Yeah, legendary. Eminem, uh, for the sake of argument, two classic albums. For the sake of argument, Eminem has two classic albums. If I had to pull it up, just because I can't really think of like when we're talking about that Young Buck Buck the World album, that Eminem song sticks out to me as a major skippable. You know what I mean? Even some of 50's other albums where he worked with it. Yes, yes, the Marshall Mathers LP is definitely classic. The Marshall Mathers LP 2 was not classic. The Marshall Mathers LP1 was an absolute classic. The Marshall Mathers LP2 was not classic. Pew, I don't really consider the Slim Shady LP a classic, man. I don't really consider it a classic, man. You know, no, there's too many on there that you really just don't want to listen to. Like Brain Damage, you know what I mean? Role Model was really good. Facts. Yeah. But I don't really, like I'm not really gonna give the Eminem really got it all together by his second album, and then his third album was really good too. But then Encore was just not for me. Was not for me. And then like I told you guys, after that, when he put out that compilation with When I'm Gone, is when I really just fell off. I'm like, okay, so now he's putting out a compilation. Okay, let me go find something. You know what I mean? Let me go listen to something else because I'm not spending my money on this. I But I'm trying to think the time frame if I even really bought the I definitely didn't buy the Encore album. I was not buying the Encore album. Oh yeah, the 8 Mile soundtrack. Wow. Our dog is actually coming up here with some shit, you know what I mean? Yeah, not many people liked Encore, man. There was just too many throwaways on it. And when I say throwaways, I mean too many tracks that you're just gonna skip, too many skippables, too many tracks that just don't. Like I played a few of them a few months ago with my friend, my dog Jesse, when we was on some road trip and shit, and I was like, "Yo, listen to these songs and like, just tell me how like you as an Eminem fan, did you like them or what was going on with these songs?" I think I played like the track called Big Weenie, you know what I mean? Just because I'm like, back in the day, like when I saw these tracks released, I was like, "Oh my god, I can't listen to that." Like, yo, I don't really want to listen to that. And then you really wouldn't listen to it more than once. Oh, that's the one I didn't like from the Eminem show, the square dancing one. I did not like when he did that voice. You know what I mean? Like some of the voices, Jordan, I like that. Shaw songs that shouldn't exist, like Ass Like That, which was on the Encore album, if I'm not mistaken, right? Encore, Ass Like That. Put it in a trivia question. Whose music do you enjoy more? And let me take a look at the poll since I'm going to answer that because it looks like in the poll, Get Rich or Die Trying is actually dominating the better debut album than The Game's the documentary. Now, there's only a 2-year time difference, a little bit less than 2 years because we know what Get Rich dropped in like February. The Game dropped in January of 05. But whose music do you think is more timeless? Who has more timeless music? I mean, how much timeless music does 50 Cent really have? Like, let's be real. how much timeless music does 50 Cent really have? You know, how many, like, he's got, let's talk about timeless music. When we're talking about timeless music, I mean shit that's going to pop up in movies 5 years, 10 years from now. So in that regard, your 50 does have timeless music because In the Club will pop up in a variety of different ways in different scenes on television and in movies. Hell, as much as I hate to say it, Candy Shop is even going to pop up. It'll pop up in your girl movies, it'll pop up in your romantic movies, it'll pop up in your romantic comedies. Hell, it'll even pop up in some Kevin Hart skits. You know what I mean? So 50's music right there, that makes his shit timeless. Now, after his second I get money a little bit, I guess. I get money a little bit here and there in that same array of music I was talking about when you're in the club or even like kids in school, you know what I mean? Like I could see it playing out in that vibe as well. You know, kid breaks up into kid breaks into his piggy bank and he's like, and then that I get money plays, you know. So yeah, it could be used. Now the games music. The games music, man. The games music, it involves 50. Candy Shop got covered in The Hangover. Thank you, Jordan. I'm going to have to go back and watch that again. I was meaning to rewatch all three of those Hangover movies when I was talking with a couple of my friends if they should make a Hangover 4. That would be interesting if I could get those conversations recorded with my friends for a live podcast when we talk about shit like that. 50 has got 2 classic albums. You're right. Get Rich or Die Trying and Power of the Dollar. Those are 50 Cent's 2 classic albums. I saw this comment right here. Encore, Rara says Encore was Eminem's worst album other than Infinite, bro. Other than Infinite. And Pew says something in regard to that. But Encore still has some good songs. Mockingbird, very annoying song. We as America, you mean? Or is that? Yeah, no, I wasn't feeling that one either. Never Enough. Mosh, no, I wasn't feeling Mosh. And Toy Soldiers, I didn't like either. Yeah, Pew, a lot of those records, like I said, skippables, you know, on the Encore. That's why I don't think I bought the album. And another one was called The Yellow Brick Road, he had on there, where he explained the whole controversy with the source a little bit. And I don't think I bought that album. I think I waited on my friend to buy that and take a listen before I went along with buying it. The same thing with 50 Cent's Curtis album though, you guys. I was like, I'm going to wait for Curtis to go down to be about $5. I'm going to wait for Curtis to pop up in the $5 bin. And I never really ended up buying it, and I wasn't upset with myself for not buying the Curtis album. I spend a lot of money on music. You know what I'm saying? Especially back in the day when you would actually go to the store and purchase the albums. You know what I'm saying? Grab a poster. You know what I mean? I spend quite a bit of money on music. When 50 first got into the game, he said, "Yo, a lot of these artists only have songs that the songs on the radio are the only good song on the album." That's what 50 started pumping out. You know what I mean? He was like, the only good songs are the ones that you actually hear, and then they have a bunch of filler on their album. And that's what 50 said was going to be different about G Unit. And for the most part, that was. When we look at the Beg for Mercy album, no filler. Lloyd Banks album, very little filler. Young Buck, very little. You know what I mean? The Game, no filler. You know what I'm saying? That's what we were sort of getting. Even going back into the second round, The Massacre, Tony Yayo, arguable. Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack, no filler on that shit, unless you didn't like Fake Love from Tony Yayo. Let me see. You know what I'm saying? But then it starts to change. After that, it starts to change. I guess Lloyd Banks lost his album, so Lloyd Banks' album had to be changed, and it wasn't as good as it could have been. Mobb Deep's album, people weren't ready for that. People were not ready for, or what they said about G Unit back in the day was 50 could turn any gangsta shit pop. It was gangsta pop. You know what I'm saying? They said 50 made gangsta music pop, but Mobb Deep didn't pop, you guys. You know what I mean? The people weren't really ready for it like that. Yeah, 50's mixtapes games is classic, man. Before I Self-Destruct was a little bit better. I didn't like how 50 flip-flopped that, man. 50 should have never flip-flopped what he was doing there. Like, you know what I mean? He should have never flipped what he was doing there, you guys, because he was actually supposed to release Get Rich, The Massacre, Get Rich, The Massacre, Before I Self-Destruct, and then Curtis. And he explained this in an interview. If you guys don't remember seeing it, that's why I'm here on YouTube doing this shit, you guys. I lived through this. You know, 50 pretty much announced that Before I Self-Destruct was going to be pushed back for the Curtis album, which really didn't make all that much sense because Curtis was supposed to be a more personal album. Wait till you get along to do the more personal album. We wanted that aggressive fifth. You know, The Massacre was a good mix. The Massacre was a great mix of aggressive music and then the, you know, softer sounding tracks, you know, that made 50 look like a jazzy type of dude, you know, when he's releasing God Gave Me Style, you know what I mean? And he's really, you know what I mean? Records like that Build You Up with Jamie Foxx, you know what I mean? And Get in My Car, you know what I mean? You're looking at 50, maybe that one's more on the gangsta tip. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Beg for Mercy was a classic album, man. Probably my favorite group album ever released. I've said that a few times on the channel, but I appreciate you for tuning in, Bunjo. I forgot Curtis was supposed to come out after. Yeah, man. That was one of the things. That was one of the things right there, man, where I think 50 really stepped in shit, you know what I mean, by releasing that album. Damn. I didn't know my Dutch was that small. I gotta. Yeah, Miguel. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That's why in the poll, everybody vote in the poll. Vote in the poll right now, you guys. I put the poll up so y'all can get your opinion out there. What was the better album? Was it Get Rich or Die Trying, or was it the doctors the documentary? G Unit Radio. I wasn't really a fan of the 2050 mixtape. That one really wasn't that great. I like the older G Unit mixtapes more than the newer ones. That 2050 one wasn't all that. All right, I got a new poll. We're going to do a new poll. This one's going to be a little bit harder. This one's going to be a little bit harder, you guys. It's going to be a good poll, though. I want to know what song was better. We're going to literally go song for song on 50 and The Game. Better song. All right, it's going to be When It Rains, It Pours from 50 Cent. And then we're going to do The Game, West Side Story. So I'm kind of giving The Game an edge on this one, you guys. Got to get some of this runts right here. You heard? This runts. I want y'all to vote in the poll right now. What song was better? 50 Cent, When It Rains, It Pours, or The Game? West Side Story. Oh, damn. I got one of my empty jars. Hold on. If these are the empty ones, where's the full one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's got to be right here. There we go. Woo! Hold up, I'll figure that out after the stream. Okay, Akeem, listen to them both real quick. Akeem's about to go listen to them both real quick and get back at me with the answer. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man, I'm trying to give the game an edge up on this poll, you guys. The game is coming into a really hectic battle right now. I honestly don't know if the game has actually battled anybody better than Eminem. You know what I mean? Now you say, oh, Mikey T, he battled 50 Cent. 50 Cent responded like one time on a song called Not Rich, Still Lying. We didn't really get the response out of 50 Cent that we wanted. You know, the game has gone at it with Joe Budden. You know what I mean? The game has gone at it with Domination. You know what I'm saying? He's gone at it with a few rappers like that. Who has the game beefed with, you guys? The game went at Little Durk. He apologized after. You know what I mean? The game went at Meek Mill. Some of the games disses are scathing, man. Like he went pretty ham on Little Durk. I'm surprised Little Durk, didn't. Well, Little Durk actually went and saw him face to face after that and was like, "Yo, man, I don't know why you're jumping in this situation with Tyga." But Tyga was the game's homie and shit, and Tyga was actually the more relevant rapper. Tyga's actually there representing the same city, so you got to add in all those factors. But guys, West Side Story, I want to say, was the game's street single, right? It was the single released prior to How We Do, unless you consider the joint that the game did with Jim Jones, obviously. I don't look it up. It's Tyga featuring the game. Legendary says, yeah, he said, yeah, 50 took it easy on that beef. Just give me 1 second. My bad about that, you guys. Yeah. Yeah, Dirk actually, I interviewed Dirk back in the day, but you probably already know that.
Lil Durk on rock with Mikey T, the movie star. You already know you're rocking, man. 300. Lil Durk on rock with Mikey T, the movie star. You already know you're rocking, man. 300. Lil Durk on rock with Mikey T, the movie star. You already know you're rocking, man. 300.
300. That's how we do on this channel, you guys. I don't know about the other guys, but I be having major superstars on my channel. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I go out there and I put in the work, you guys. You know what I mean? I don't take no for an answer. I don't sleep. I just grind every day repeatedly in this shit. But let me check out this poll, man, because I'm really, really intrigued to see if the game can get an edge up on 50 here. Wow. When it rains, it pours. When it rains, it pours right now is leading 62%. Leading 62% to 38%. Can you guys believe that? Can you guys believe that, man? The game is actually, he can't even beat 50 on one of 50's tracks that are just from his movie. Rated R, No Love says, I think that Lloyd Banks can go bar for bar with the game. Lloyd Banks has always stepped up for 50 in situations. Lloyd Banks actually recorded a track called Officer Down going at Rick Ross. Obviously, if I remember the track, some 10 years later. You know what I mean? It's considered to stand the test of time. So yeah, Lloyd Banks never really stood front to go against the game in that. I mean, they all had like the joints, like 300 shots, which I wasn't a fan of, man. Just being real, I wasn't a fan of that. I wasn't a fan of Not Rich Still Lying. You know what I mean? 50 played that beef different. 50 played that beef different. I mean, he mentioned game here and there. What he mentioned, clickety clank. Game still mad about my piggy bank. Whatever he said, you know what I mean? Like, oh, there's my lighter. Lloyd taking game lyrically. I feel like that should be the next poll. Pew, I don't know, man. This looks like it's just going to be just as embarrassing. This is going to be just as embarrassing as a versus would have been. But maybe shit, you know what I mean? I'm not going to say 50 would have just destroyed the game in a versus. I mean, 50 had a lot of records that didn't work as well. So what's 50's versus songs? He's got In the Club. He's got Many Men. And this is all just off the first album. He's got 21 Questions. What else does he got, you guys? $50 and M are too big for verses. Versus is weird, to be honest. It depends on the crowd. It depends on the crowd. It depends on everybody spectating at home. You know what I mean? It depends on everybody spectating at home. Yep. What up, gangsta? PIMP. Yep. PIMP. So what? That's 5 right there. Then he's got Disco Inferno. Does he do Candy Shop, you guys? Or just a little bit? I would probably say just a little bit. Lasek says he thinks he'll pull out How to Rob if it's in New York. That would be interesting. Yeah, I didn't even start getting into the soundtrack. You know what I mean? He obviously has Best Friend with Olivia. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, Patiently Waiting if he wants to bring out Eminem. That's not even arguably their best song. That just is their best song. 50 and M don't have a better song than Patiently Waiting, you guys. That's just the truth. All their other stuff I really haven't liked, like Gatman and Robin, Peep Show. Heat? You think Heat, bro? I don't think he'll bring Heat out to the verses. Because me, I'll drive by. The drama, nothing. I'm the Man. No, you want to know what one he'll bring out, though, on the newer tip? Is that Jeremiah record. System jumping, party thumping, shorty. She's a perfect 10. But then you got to do the G Unit records. You got Stunt 101, Popping Them Things, Want to Get to Know You. You know what I mean? You got Ryder. If you want to bring Tony Yayo out, you know what I mean? You got a bunch of records. Oh shit. Brantley, excuse me. Wanksta. I'm not sure where we're at with him. I might have been upstaged because Don't Push Me with Lloyd Banks, M and 50, actually different collab. Patiently Waiting is M and 50's best collab. Don't Push Me is M, 50 and Banks' best collab. Better than the Warrior remix. Oh, You Don't Know? He could do You Don't Know from the Re-Up album. Yeah, you're right, man. Yup. Wow, he's got so mu That's a 51? Yeah, that's a 51. "You be acting like you don't know. I tear the club up." Yeah, he's not gonna do Get Up. He's not gonna do Get Up with Scott Storch. Oh, boom. I Get Money. Yep, he's gonna do I Get Money. Guys, we better start getting some game records after this, you know what I mean? We better get some game records here, you guys. Yeah, you don't does he do anything besides the hook on that one though, man? Yeah, man. Yeah, La Sac. Um, Beg for Mercy is one of my favorite albums. Like I said, my favorite group album. You know, if you're putting all the groups together, if we're talking about 3 6 Mafia, if we're talking about Dog Pound, if we're talking about, you know what I mean? If we're talking about CNN, if we're talking about Mobb Deep, you know what I mean? Even though they're technically duos, you could really put them in a different category out of respect. You know what I mean? If we're talking about all those groups, I'm honestly putting the Beg for Mercy album as my best group album, and I might catch some heat for that, you guys, because of the fact that it's kind of it's newer. I mean, even though it's 2003, it's a lot newer than the other groups, like the Locks. You know what I'm saying? Terror Squad. It's a lot newer than a lot of the other groups, but still, I feel like it was the most complete group album. You got the Lunez and shit like that. I got five on it, all these different groups that Snoop Dogg was running with. I just feel like G Unit was the most complete group. And I'm probably going to catch hell for that as well. But it's just my personal opinion, even though Tony Ayo like doesn't think I really like G Unit or something like that. But yeah, I was saying Legendary, isn't that record You Don't Know? Isn't that kind of like only a hook from 50 Cent? I'm not sure 50 can use You Don't Know. I don't think 50 can use You Don't Know in the verses. Bump Heads. Bump Heads is a beef track, right? All right, so we got Game, One Blood. Game is gonna come with One Blood. What song does One Blood beat that we've been talking about? Jesus. One Blood doesn't beat I Get Money. Does One Blood maybe beat Wangsta? If 50 starts off with Wangsta and the game comes out with One Blood, the game's got round one. The game has got round one. If it starts off, if 50 comes out with Wangsta to start things off, and the game comes back with One Blood, game's got that round. Major salute, Cesar Garcia, Hollywood, Florida, man. Man, I miss y'all in Florida too, man. I can't wait to get back. But what songs would Game have for a verses? Well, we got one out there, One Blood. Yeah, the joint 50 ad with Chris Brown. I admit, I'm the man. No, 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 no. Oh, Romeo and Juliet. Nah, I don't think I'm putting any of those on there for fifth. I don't think I'm putting any of those on there for fifth with those ones. Legendary says Game ain't really got timeless music, to be honest. He got dope songs in some of his albums, but that's about it. Hate It or Love It. That's a classic. 50 on that joint. Just give me 1 second, you guys. Got cool. Nice. All right, we lit. Oh, yo, that's why I was saying you really got to Kenny. That's why I was saying you really got to put duos and groups into different, categories, man. What's popping? What's popping? What's popping? What's popping, man? Yeah, so disrespectful. That really wasn't a good diss to me, man. Like that 50, and that was on the Before I Self-Destruct album, right, Miguel? But yo, come on, man. Are you kidding me? We're not comparing an Outcast album to Beg for Mercy, bro. Like, let's just be 100% real. Yo, Ron, they're not performing how we do together. Please, if they do a verses, please do not give me the Method Man and Redman verses. I do not want the Method Man and Redman verses. I do not want to see the verses where they get along, they perform together. I want the Dipset versus D Block. You know what I'm saying? I want the Ja Rule and the Fat Joe. You know what I'm saying? I want that animosity. I want the team to want to win, not to want to perform together. Was a bit disappointed with Red and Meth, you know what I mean? Because of the fact that I've seen them perform on multiple occasions together. You know, I'm a big Red and Meth guy. You know what I mean? More than the movie. I like them performing together. I like their music together. You know what I'm saying? Their collaborations. Now, when they got up on stage together to do their verses, it should have been a different story. These guys could sit together and they could perform the best, or they could put together the best type of performance. You know what I'm saying? But they're like, oh shit, let's just perform together. But so, no, please, know how we do together. Yeah, popping them things. Dreams. So we got Dreams from the game. Dreams. So Many Men, and then we got Dreams. You know, those are kind of like the Doctor's Advocate was fire and had nothing to do with Dr. Dre or G Unit. Yeah, it was fire. It was definitely fire. Certified Gangster with Jim. Oh shit. Yeah, you're right. You're right. He's definitely going to do that, because if 50 were to come out with How to Rob, if 50 came out with How to Rob and Game came out with Certified Gangsters, that would actually be cool. Mikey T, Wanksta started a whole new word. How you giving it to One Blood? Just because excitement level. I'm giving it to One Blood for excitement level purely, you guys. If the Game dropped One Blood right after Wanksta, that would probably be just about the would be the only victory that he could get to start it off. If 50 comes out with In the Club, it's going to blow anything else out of the water. Yep. Yep. The Down on Me joint with Jeremiah, 100%. 100 with Drake. Wow, does Drake pop out for that? If Drake pops out for that, now that's a movie. I like this right here. Ron B says, Put You on the Game, which was the Game's fourth single from the documentary. If you guys remember, the Game actually dropped a single. This was the single the Game dropped when it was announced that he was no longer with G Unit. And the Game didn't want to seem to be remaining stagnant. And the Game actually put out another single that maybe it helped sell some units, maybe not. You know what I mean? You'd really have to go back and check that. But the Game did what he did anyways. Legendary says the Wanksta is way better than One Blood. Big Steve Q. I never really heard about Gucci Man dissing the Game. Was that when the Game or something was talking about he would box somebody, and then Gucci said I would box the Game, or was that vice versa? Was Gucci saying he would box somebody and then the Game said that he would box him? I don't really remember, to be honest with you, man. It seemed a little bit petty to me. And plus, I wasn't really blogging back in the day. I wasn't really on here giving my thoughts on everything going involved in hip hop. But shit, you know, I'm on it, man. I thought so too, William. That song was called Game's Pain. I love that joint, man. But nobody really else seemed to love it, you know? Yep, Dream. We already said that one, Kenny. Right now, we're talking about what songs can the game respond to 50 Cent with. Also, I have it in the chat. What is the better song? Please, if you haven't voted in the poll, I'm giving y'all an opportunity to impact this poll. You know what I mean? I'm putting the power in y'all hands. So vote in the poll. Better song, 50 Cent, When It Rains, It Pours, or The Game, West Side Story. I'm a big West Side Story, you guys. Even though When It Rains, It Pours is a cool song, I think West Side Story has that all day. The Game's verses on that are just legendary. 20 songs, game, 20 rounds, game might get 5. Rah rah said, damn, I like it. I like it, man. We got some great conversation in here. Anybody, if you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe so you never miss one of my live videos. At the end of the show, they could perform a track together. I have no problem with that. The real M14 says at the end they could perform a track together. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. You're right. So Game has to end it with "This Is How We Do" then. The Game's last song, and he could probably get the last round. As our guy Ra said, Game will get 5 rounds if the Game did How We Do last, which doesn't make any sense. Or maybe Hate It or Love It. I don't see the Game waiting to the end of the verses to do those songs. Those are songs I see from the Game out the gate, you guys. You know, I see those songs from the Game out of the gate. Like, he's not going to be waiting. He's not going to be waiting to perform Hate It or Love It or How We Do. However he edits them and gets them out there. How crazy would that be if 50 did the Hate It or Love It remix? Caesar says 50 Cent back down versus the Game One Blood. I'm still going to go back down is amazing. I just don't see it being used at the verses. Do y'all think I'm tripping in the chat? Is the Game more than likely going to use is 50 Cent more than likely going to use back down at the verses if he ever has one? I don't think so. Now, if it was versus against Ja Rule, sure, fit it in, but I don't think so. DTA says, DT Artman says, how high was funny. I'm going to give it a watch, man. I'm going to give it a watch. Smoke an L and give it a watch. I'm a soldier. Many men destroys dreams, legendary says. Wanksta Hat was a movement type song. It created a new word. Big facts, man. Big facts. I like the Game featuring Kendrick Lamar, The City. If the Game gets Drake to come out for 100, if he gets Kendrick Lamar to come out for The City, you know what I mean? If the Game gets these types of people to come out, he is going to take those rounds, you guys, without a doubt. If he gets Drake to come out, he's taking that round. If he gets Kendrick to come out, he's taking that round. Who does 50 Cent bring out? We've already said he's going to bring out M. Who else does he's going to bring out Jeremiah, but that doesn't really, it's not really moving anything. You know what I mean? The Game could easily bring out Chris Brown or somebody along. Chris Brown will outdo Jeremiah all day. The Realm 14 says that the One Blood remix was legendary, but you can't do that at the verses. Maybe you could have the Realm. Who was the main feature on that you would say that the Game should bring out, if any, on the One Blood remix? See No Evil with Kendrick Lamar was nice. Does he have Kendrick stay out there for a couple songs? Or does he just have Kendrick come out there for the quick one song? Wanksta over one. Yep. He's got My Life with Lil Wayne. Yep. My Life with Lil Wayne. He's got a lot of records, man. He's got a lot of records. Scream on him with Swiss Beats. Maybe I'm tripping about that one. You know what I'm saying? I just always remembered that one from his second album. But it was a little bit different. You know what I mean? 300 bars is nasty, but I don't know where he gets to fit that in, Caesar. You know what I mean? I don't exactly know where the game actually gets to fit that in, the 300 bars joint. The Realm says, "Yo, word, I loved Game's Pain, but people was hating on it because he was name dropping. He was paying homage though. A lot of people pull, you know what I mean? They pull some shit on the game about his name dropping and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They say stuff about it, but I think, we've all heard enough music from the game to know that he actually doesn't need to just do that consecutively. You know what I mean? He doesn't need to just name drop. I think a lot of his, I think a lot of his music is out there to the point where, like a lot of music isn't going to go if all you're doing is name dropping, man. You know what I mean? It's cute. You know what I'm saying? It's cute for the first joint. It annoyed me to a certain extent, but you're not just going to keep doing that your whole career, even though he's still doing it on easy. You know what I mean? I don't really want to analyze how he's doing on easy in comparison. That's a whole nother video. You know what I mean? If you really analyze the way he was name dropping on the documentary to the way he's doing it on easy. Oh, Brantley says West Side Story, baby. Hell yeah. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. West Side Story just got a vote. Good to see. That shit is good to see. 50 is doing Buck dirty. Man, it really sucks in Buck's situation, Micro, because Buck he recorded all that material with all the G Unit guys. 50 actually he brought, Kid into the equation. He got Yayo and Banks back up into the loop. You know what I mean? It was cool to see them all together running around, doing all the platforms, doing all the freestyles. You really thought the shit was back together. But the music industry had changed. It wasn't the same as it was back in the day when you would go create a product, premiere the video on 106 and Park, and then go back when it was time for your album to drop. It's not the same way as, you know what I mean, anymore. The G Unit guys really weren't connecting like they were back in the day. Now there was 5 of them. Like Kid's my dog, you know what I mean? But that's a 5-man group now. You know what I mean? They had to work to make, they had to work to turn G Unit into a 4-man group. At first it was a 3-man group. It was 50, Banks, and Yayo. That's what everybody knew. Young Buck came into the fold. It was like, yo, is that Tony Yayo? Oh, no. He can't be Yayo. He sounds different. Actually, this guy sounds pretty cool. Then you get the game come in, and the game actually blew up. And it was like, yo, I want to hear more of the game rapping with the G Unit guys. So you were looking forward to it being a 5-man group. You know what I'm saying? So Game had to work his way up to us actually being interested to him to create a G Unit album that we never actually got. You know what I'm saying? So Buck went, what I was talking about is Buck went back and created this G Unit album that never actually came out. It was released as 2 different EPs. I would have to think that portion of his deal is complete, but now he unfortunately has signed for another solo album with 50. After all the problems that Buck went through, for a solo project in the first place with 50, he dropped 2 albums and then it was done. I'm so shocked that he would actually sign back to the man for another solo deal. It makes no sense to me. Yep, there's another one right there for the verses for the game. You got the game and Kanye West, and I'm not talking about Easy. I'm talking about the original record. Wouldn't get far. Would they do Easy at the verses? Maybe as one of the later songs. Would Kanye West really pop up twice? Would Kanye West really pop up twice? I don't know. I don't know if he would pop. If he's there already, makes sense. 50 can bring up Snoop Dogg from the PIMP song. Yep, because 50's really the one who's got the Snoop Dogg song. No Snoop Dogg and Game song really hits me unless you're talking. I guess what was it called? California Vacation, but that really wasn't nothing to write home about. The Game will bring out Lil Wayne for My Life. So far for features for The Game, we've actually got The Game with the potential of bringing out Kendrick Lamar. We've got The Game bringing out Drake, and we've got The Game bringing out Lil Wayne. Are you kidding me? Also, The Game could bring out Rick Ross if they have a record together. I don't really think, off the top of my head, they don't really have a record together. But Ross does have that G Unit diss song that he featured The Game on. Yeah, My Life with Lil Wayne. Great song. Loki, I don't know if The Game could bring in Ja Rule, man. Like, I mean, Ja Rule is, I believe, featured on that same song with Rick Ross, though. You know, Fifth can bring Obi Trice, D12, even Busta. No, Busta would be going for Game, bro. Busta and Game have quite a few records together. I would have to say Busta would come for Game. He might bring out Meek, but the only problem with that is 50 doesn't have any records with Meek. And 50 has made fun of Meek in the past. You know what I mean? 50 has made fun of Meek in the past to where he actually sunned one of their mutual friends on stage together. So, will Game make a song with Ja Rule? They had done a song together back in the day. I believe there was like 4 of them on the track. I don't remember the name of it. Look it up real quick and I'll shout it out in the chat though. I remember, I think it was it the Mafia Music remix? Game is just promoting his album, and it's simple as that, and it's understandable. Yeah, 100%, man. They're promoting the new Drillmatic album. I bet you that The Game is gonna release the diss track actually on the album. You know, he wasn't able to really release 300 bars on a platform like he had done, you know, like probably like he wanted to. He probably wanted to sell 300 bars if he could have got everything cleared, or probably just changed it to one universal beat that he owned. You know what I mean? Kid was delivering on Lost Flash Drive. That was the last Unit project I heard, and it was a gem. Yeah, Kid was majorly dope to G Unit. You know, I really liked what him and Young Buck actually had going on. So that's why I asked him about it in an interview. I got Kid to kind of explain it, and he told me that he actually had an album recorded, like a duet album recorded with Young Buck. Um, I might have to do a watch along on the Kid interview, man. I really need to connect with Kid again. I just been so busy, you know what I mean, doing my building of my own channel and shit like that, trying to connect with new people, new fans, you know what I'm saying, new supporters, subscribers, and all that. But don't worry, you guys, because we've got all year to basically dive into the world of hip hop, man. Whether I'm bringing on guests that are actually artists or producers or writers or different platform owners themselves. You know what I mean? We're going to be doing all different types of shit this year that I'm excited for. Do you think Game of them would get physical potential at the verses? You know, man, Big Steve, you know, there's really never no telling. Like, look what had happened with Cameron. What he had done was almost taken a little bit unintentional. You know what I mean? Look at what happened with Ja Rule and Fat Joe when Fat Joe was kind of calling out some of Ja Rule's associates, you know, some of the females. You know, there's a couple things that could happen where shit could go sideways. Look at what Gucci Man did to set it all off. He actually performed the truth. You know what I mean? Yo. Jewel King, major salute to Alaska. Much love to Alaska, man. Definitely appreciate you tapping in, man. Definitely appreciate that. We were just covering a couple topics, you know, 50 and Buck going back at it. Buck and him going at him in another interview. 50 responding on Instagram. The Game finally explaining why he wants to diss Eminem. You know, it's nothing really crazy. It's really just a sparring. It's a lyrical sparring match. But look what happened when MGK and Eminem went lyrically sparring. Look what happened when Nick Cannon got that lyrical spar from Eminem. That was one of the most, go listen to The Warning, you guys. Eminem, The Warning, one of the most embarrassing diss tracks out there. But the game said, you guys, if Eminem comes at him and he gets him, he'll admit it. He'll acknowledge it. The game went as far to say, when you look at past rivalries with the likes of Jay-Z and the likes of Nas, when we're talking about the takeover, when we're talking about Ether, when we're looking at these rivalries, you guys, both of the people involved know there has got to be a winner. Both of them, sort of in their own mind, they know who won. In their mind, they feel like they got hit there. They caught a blow there. You know what I'm saying? They got dealt with overall. Then you got to look at all of us. You got to look at all the spectators, everybody watching, everybody conversating about it. We all pick who won, sort of like how it goes with this new versus. It's how it goes with anything. It's how it goes with smack. You know what I mean? It's how it goes with rap battling. It's how it goes with dissing in general. You know what I mean? When Eminem was battling Benzino, it was just an overwhelming feeling that Eminem absolutely destroyed him. You know what I mean? You know, the conversation is different when you're talking about M and Benzino and you're talking about Jay and Nas. You know what I mean? Conversation is a whole lot different. Then when you get in to talk about 50 and Ja, you kind of talk about how everybody sort of teamed up on Ja to a certain extent. And Ja didn't really have nobody there to back him up. Nobody went to bat for Ja. Ja just started swinging. You know what I mean? He just started swinging, talking about Busta. You know what I mean? Talking about Busta, talking about all these different people and shit like that. Talking about M, which brought M into the equation. He made a couple missteps, man. Sometimes when you get into beef, that could happen. You can unintentionally diss somebody that you shouldn't have. You know what I mean? Because I kind of feel like Eminem was going to let 50 do his thing in that battle. But then when Ja Rule mentioned him on Loose Change, you know, I feel like it was a wrap. And then he had said something about Busta Rhymes. And you know, I never really looked at Busta Rhymes as that type of dude. You know what I mean? Just growing up and watching all of his videos. That's why when you finally heard Busta Rhymes on Hail Mary, it was so crazy. You know what I mean? It was like, are you serious? And then Busta Rhymes came on and he's like, I think about the game. Like, what would it be without you? You know what I mean? Like, he really like Busta Rhymes really showed me a whole nother side of Busta Bust, just singing the same old hook. Okay. All right. Well, how about we take that and we flip your hook, man? But let me hit anybody got it. Let me check out what the chat's saying, man. Derek says, so when are you going to do an interview with Marshall? Well, I actually got to do an interview with Royce the 5'9", and I actually got to do an interview with Bizarre. I don't know if you've checked those out. Very, very good interviews that I've done. Very interviews that I'm really proud of, man. Yep, The Warning was personal. Very crazy song, man. La Sec says, you only better than your last diss track. I got my money on Game. One of Game's last diss tracks was Pest Control, right? Yeah, Pest Control was a monster, man. Ooh. Salute Mars. Salute Mars. Appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate you for tapping in. Reek! What's poppin', G's? Uber in bars. We ain't. Yeah. Is that the record? Is that the record? Is that the record that you're talking about? Where the game said that Eminem was better than him. And hold up. M just killed me on my own shit. Yeah, that's the record where the game actually said that. He said that on track, though, man. He wasn't really, you know what I mean? He actually said that on track. It was kind of for like he's like, hold up. Like, you know what I mean? It was kind of for like the shock value of it, man. Oh, major salute, major salute. Yeah, one of my favorite interviews with Royce the 5'9". Yeah, man, it's privilege interviewing somebody like Royce the 5'9". Like I had told him in that interview, he just has so much history from solo albums to duet albums to group albums. You know what I mean? It was a whole lot to go over. Man, just doing this live thing tonight, Reek. I got to get you back on for another episode, bro. Urban Bar says, we ain't off the documentary debut album. By the way, it was a great album too. Yeah, man. The Game's #1 album, I would have to say, But a lot of people, the Game actually said the Doctor's Advocate was his favorite album, though. Yo, Reek, did you tell me what album was better, the documentary of the Doctor's Advocate, or is that completely obvious? And also, Reek, vote in the poll, man. I was asking the poll, what is a better record? 50 Cent, When It Rains It Pours, or The Game, West Side Story? Well, Reek, follow me back on the gram, bro, so I can actually message you and shit like that. It's Mikey T _ the movie star. I'm pretty sure I'm following you on the gram. That's how I'd usually send you the link and shit, bro. You're a major figure in this industry right now, man. I was going to say, you're a major figure in this shit, but you know what, man? Corporate a little bit. You're a major figure in this industry, man. Glad to seeing you grow too, man. Keep on doing your thing, Reek. Zeus was M's last diss. I wasn't really into these joints where he's like name dropping people real quick on his albums. Like I was kind of saying earlier, Eminem dissing everybody on his albums is kind of like the Game name dropping everybody on his albums. It's somewhat comparable. Now Eminem has different diss tracks. All right, lit. I'm gonna send you a link, man. We'll do some shit in the near future, man. Major love. Oh shit. Rest in peace, X. Yeah, that's a record right there. Yeah, the Go to Sleep was actually used in the Cradle to the Grave movie, right? Okay. All right. Documentary for show, but West Side Story, man. So yo, we're about to get up out of here, but I want everybody, this is your last chance to vote in the poll. I want everybody to vote in the poll. We're gonna go last 60 seconds in the poll, you guys. It's your last chance to vote for the better song. 50 Cent, When It Rains, It Pours from the Get Rich or Die Trying soundtrack, or West Side Story from the Game's debut album. This is your last chance to vote in the poll, guys. I'm going to leave it up for another 60 seconds. Oh, yeah. See, Nail in the Coffin. Now that's like a diss song. Woo! Yo, highly qualified. You need to stop betting that, man. You're always betting that somebody can't name some songs, man. The Game has mad songs you can name. Go to Sleep is cool. Go to Sleep is cool. They're really, really high pitched on that. Yep. Wow, he's got a lot of diss songs. Yeah, Bully. Yep. But all right, y'all. I'm about to end the poll. So I want everybody, if you haven't voted in the poll, this is the last minute to vote in the poll, you guys. I'm about to shut down the poll tonight for the night. I'm going to be dropping a video a little bit later around 8:30 tonight. Everybody on here who wants to follow me on Instagram, I will follow you guys back based on this video. If you're watching right now and follow me, I will follow you back. But this is your last chance to vote in the chat. I'm ending the poll. It's looking like 50 Cent is leading 72% to 28%. and we got 75 votes in there, man. So I'm gonna have to give this one to When It Rains, It Pours. A little bit odd to me, just to be 100 with you guys. A little bit odd to me that the Game's song West Side Story didn't beat When It Rains, It Pours. I felt like it was a much better commercial song. So I'm going to end the poll. Oh, shit. No, we just got 2 more votes. We just got 2 more votes. So I'm going to leave the poll up for another 30 seconds, you guys, so everybody can get in your last votes on the poll, because the Game just jumped up to 29%, but it's still 71% overall believe that When It Rains, It Pours is a better song. Honestly, I'm surprised that that song has been heard by as many people as West Side Story. You know, if you look at the sales comparison, West Side Story was on an album that sold 5, 6, maybe 7 million copies at this point. You know, When It Rains, It Pours is on an album that has gone maybe maximum triple platinum. But you know how we do, man. Major shout out to Bel Air Blue. We're still waiting on Bel Air to, you know, take recognize of who we are and shit. Send us a case, and then we're going to turn this shit up to the whole next level. Always got a shout out to Bel Air Blue. One of the best Bel Airs out there in stock. Damn right, DJ Spawn. 50 Cent is still a monster today. Pretty evident that the Game is still a monster today, though, as well, man. Especially with the Easy record. But even more than that, with the way that he's turned up the music industry right now, you guys. Like, he's got the whole industry talking right now. And we're talking about an artist that's been relevant since late 2004. You know what I mean? He's literally been relevant since late 2004. The Game is going on 20 years of relevancy, you guys. I'm going to end the poll. We got 79 votes. 50 Cent is back running the poll with 72% to the Game's 28%. Thank you all for voting in the poll tonight. I'm going to end it. Now, like I said, if anybody wants to follow me on the gram, I've got it pinned up. I'm going to give y'all just a minute to follow me from the pinned link. Like I said, I'm going to follow everybody back that follows me on the gram, you guys. I also want to say, if you're watching this on demand, I will follow you back. So just shoot me the follow, man. Send me a message, Mikey T. I was watching the video. I enjoy your content. But now, while you're right here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss the live videos, man. You never want to miss one of my live videos. You never know what I'm going to say. You never know what we're going to talk about, who we're going to interact with, who's going to pop on. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss one of Mikey T, the Movie Stars videos. I'll see y'all in the next joint, man. Peace out, man.